The end of the world arrived. General Lin, the strongest dual-ability wielder of the northern military base, sacrificed herself by self-detonating to protect her soldiers, perishing alongside the zombie king. Agony. Endless darkness threatened to swallow her consciousness like a tidal wave. The next instant, warm sunlight-like radiance burst forth, chasing away all darkness and torment. Was she dead? That was fine. If there was an afterlife, she wanted no more life-and-death battles. No more endless days cooped up in laboratories buried in work. She longed to be a wealthy woman, to lie back and live an easy life. To have endless money without lifting a finger, eating and enjoying every day. I can grant your wish. A childish voice suddenly echoed inside Lin Jiaojiao's mind, startling her. What the heck? I'm no ghost. I'm a spatial artifact spirit. Spatial? Artifact spirit? She half understood, yet grew more confused. Where on earth had this artifact spirit come from? Had she stumbled onto some cultivation world phenomenon? Or had she transmigrated? As if reading her thoughts, the spatial artifact spirit corrected her. Master, you're overthinking. We haven't transmigrated yet. Not yet? Which meant they would eventually. Lin Jiaojiao's consciousness drifted, her mind racing with wild fancies, before she regained her focus. What became of the base? Rest assured, everyone survived. Thanks to your self-sacrifice, the base that should have been wiped out was fully saved, not a single life lost. That was a relief. Lin Jiaojiao's heart loosened. She then noticed she had no physical body, weightless and floating. What is happening to me? Master, you exist as a soul form inside my space. We are communicating through consciousness. Soul. Space. Mental communication. Lin Jiaojiao thought she adapted surprisingly fast, readily accepting such surreal circumstances. Who are you? Why do you call me master? My original form is a spatial artifact. In time I developed sentience and self-awareness, hence I am called an artifact spirit. When you self-detonated, splatters of your blood landed upon my artifact body. I took the initiative to form a contract with you. Lin Jiaojiao frowned. Didn't the zombie king's blood also splatter onto you? Could you phrase that less crudely? The artifact spirit huffed. Do you think I accept contracts with anyone who comes along? It was quite selective. Lin Jiaojiao fell silent. That was exactly what she had assumed. Why pick me then? Is my blood tasty? Absolutely not. The space spirit was exasperated. Her new master seemed somewhat slow-witted. It was no vampire. It would never form contracts for the sake of blood. You bear immense karmic merit. You saved countless lives, and your brilliant karmic glow can foster my cultivation. That is why I bonded with you. Lin Jiaojiao marveled. You can see that? Of course. I am no ordinary space. I am a top-tier artifact, capable of attack, defense, and even crossing time and space. Mid-speech, the space shuddered violently, the tremor rippling through Lin Jiaojiao's soul. What's wrong? Master, this is bad. Yama King is here to claim you. Lin Jiaojiao was utterly dumbfounded. Who? Claim whom? The artifact spirit hastily explained. Master, your karmic merit is so abundant Yama King wants to recruit you to serve in the underworld. But I found you first. Even though the dead belong to the underworld, there is such a thing as first come first served. To keep you from being taken away, we must transmigrate. Lin Jiaojiao was speechless. So she had been snatched away by the artifact spirit. The spirit urged urgently. Master, shall we go? We will run out of time soon. Lin Jiaojiao's head ached. She had never faced a situation like this before. How would she choose? Follow Yama King and take up an official post in the underworld? Or transmigrate with the spatial artifact spirit? After brief consideration, Lin Jiaojiao made her firm decision. Let's go, transmigrate. She was not taking another job. Not even an underworld civil service position. Overjoyed, the artifact spirit cheered. Excellent. Transmigration commencing. Beep beep, my other half, here I come. When Lin Jiaojiao opened her eyes again, she was in a brand new world. Above her were aged wooden ceiling beams. The yellowed walls were mottled. Inside the dim, cramped room stood nothing but an old wooden wardrobe. She tried to move her body, yet her limbs felt weak and heavy, her head throbbing dully. That man said Director Lee is looking for a match for his son. If we secure this marriage, your father could get promoted to deputy section chief next year. A man's voice brimmed with suppressed excitement and calculation. But Director Lee's son isn't mentally sound, is he? A woman sounded astonished. So what if he is? He can still carry on the family line. His father is the director. Once our daughter marries him, we become relatives. A single word from him will secure the promotion. The voices outside were quiet, yet perfectly audible to Lin Jiaojiao. She slowly sat upright, massaging her throbbing temples, and spoke to the artifact spirit through her mind. Have we transmigrated? Yes, master. More precisely, we have entered the world of a female-oriented era novel. Curiosity stirred in Lin Jiaojiao. Am I the heroine? No. You are cannon fodder. Strictly speaking, you are barely even cannon fodder. Other cannon fodder characters at least appear in the plot. You are merely the male lead's ex-wife who dies before the story begins, only mentioned in flashbacks. Lin Jiaojiao felt wronged. How could she, a battle-hardened General Lin, be reduced to such a negligible role? Master, the novel starts after your original counterpart's death. You never get any scenes. Very well. That suited her fine. No plot obligations, no zombie fights. At last she could lie low and enjoy an easy life. Wait a minute. Lin Jiaojiao realized something. You said I am the male lead's ex-wife? Am I already married? Do not panic, master. The timeline we landed in is early. The original host and the male lead were merely seeing each other. Neither set of parents even knows about their relationship. Thank goodness, thank goodness. Lin Jiaojiao breathed a sigh of relief. Having never married in her past life, she dreaded suddenly being a wife. How did the original host die? In the male lead's retrospective memories, she died following pregnancy complications, losing both herself and her unborn child. A pitiful fate. But now that she inhabited this body, that tragic ending would never come to pass. She hailed from a family of traditional Chinese medicine practitioners, had been the youngest academician of medical sciences. After the apocalypse broke out, she had been the first to develop zombie vaccines and antidotes. She could easily treat whatever ailments plagued this body. Master, absorb the original host's memories. Those details are not written in the novel. Very well. Lin Jiaojiao concentrated. Fragmented memories belonging to another person unfolded in her mind like scroll paintings. It was June of 1973. The original host was also named Lin Jiaojiao, an 18-year-old girl. There were 3 children in the family, an elder brother and a younger sister. Yet her parents showed blatant favoritism. They forced her to do all the household chores. She often went hungry, poorly clothed, and endured frequent beatings and scoldings. She was treated like a household servant slaving away for the rest of the family. She had fallen ill with a high fever the previous day, collapsed while working, and had been carried back home. Master, someone is coming in. The wooden door creaked open the instant the spirit finished speaking. A plump middle-aged woman stood in the doorway. Seeing Lin Jiaojiao awake, she flew into a rage. You wretched girl. You're awake yet you don't get up to make breakfast. You've lain abed for 2 days, have you grown fond of idling? Lin Jiaojiao frowned. That sharp tone hardly belonged to a birth mother. Hurry out. Your father wants to speak with you. Without waiting for a reply, Mother Lin turned and stormed away. Lin Jiaojiao let out a faint laugh. What an interesting family. If they knew their place, all would be well. If not, outside the bedroom. A square wooden table stood in the middle of the main room. 3 people sat beside it. Father Lin, Lin Fugue, in his 50s. Plum-faced and utterly self-centered, obsessed with climbing the social ladder. Mother Lin, Zhao Chui. Though still attractive, she harbored malice, constantly abusing the original host verbally and physically. Younger sister Lin Cece, 17, 1 year younger than the host. Spoiled, she loved stirring up trouble and telling tales. When Lin Jiaojiao stepped out, all 3 turned their gazes toward her. Oh, if you'd stayed in bed any longer, we would have thought you'd fainted again. Mother Lin opened with sarcasm. Lin Jiaojiao ignored her. Her eyes swept over the bare table. They had already finished their breakfast, without troubling to call her. Speak. What is it? She stepped forward, hooked a stool with her foot, sat down, and looked calmly at the 3 of them, her manner relaxed and indifferent. The 3 were stunned. Her bearing and tone felt completely different. Father Lin frowned. Look at your conduct. Is that how you speak to your elders? Lin Jiaojiao smiled faintly. What manner would you prefer? Should I kowtow before you and burn incense for you morning and night? Father Lin had expected the usual meek daughter. Caught off guard by her retort, he was momentarily lost for words. Enough, let's get to the point. Mother Lin cut in. Your father has arranged a marriage for you. Marry this man, and you will eat fine food and live in comfort. Lin Jiaojiao stared at her with a knowing smirk. If this match is so wonderful, why not give it to younger sister? Mother Lin was struck dumb. Lin Cece, who had been watching with malicious amusement, grew indignant. Sister, we are talking about your marriage. Why drag me into this? Lin Jiaojiao shot her a glance and said nothing. Father Lin spoke impatiently. The marriage is settled. While you are on sick leave, you will meet the prospective groom tomorrow. Lin Jiaojiao sneered. No one had asked for her consent. They treated her as if she had no say in her own life. I will not go. Her refusal was absolute, no room for negotiation. Father Lin flew into a fury. What did you say? How dare you refuse? Why would I not dare? Lin Jiaojiao lazily met his glare. Marriage freedom is upheld nowadays. No one can force me into wedlock if I refuse. You dash. Would you dare break the law and drag me there by force? You have turned against us. I raised you, fed you, clothed you. What is wrong with arranging a marriage for you? No one can stop me. Go ahead and try. I will report you to the Public Security Bureau for colluding with Director Li to force me into marriage. Let's see how the police will respond. You. Father Lin shook with rage, pointing a trembling finger. Fine. You think you are so grown up and independent. I will beat some sense into you today. He shot to his feet and charged toward her. Mother Lin and Lin Cece stepped aside, eager to watch her get punished. Lin Jiaojiao assessed her physical condition. To her surprise, her superpowers still existed. Perfect. She sneered. With one leg, she hooked a nearby stool and kicked it with controlled force. The stool went flying straight toward Father Lin. Bang! It struck him square in the chest and head. He tumbled to the floor with a cry. When he touched his forehead, his hand came away covered in blood. My head. My head is bleeding. Mother Lin and Lin Cece stared in horror as though witnessing a ghost. How had the stool flown? Had Lin Jiaojiao kicked it? She had hardly seemed to exert much strength, yet the stool had sailed across the room. Old Lin. Are you all right? Snapping out of shock, Mother Lin hurried to prop him up. At that moment, eldest brother Lin returned from the outhouse. He walked in to see his father clutching his bleeding forehead, groaning in pain. Father, mother. What happened? Lin Cece immediately made her accusation. Brother. Father arranged a marriage for Lin Jiaojiao. She refused and attacked him. Hot-tempered eldest brother Lin Jiangwo exploded. You wretch! How dare you lay hands on our father? He lunged forward to slap Lin Jiaojiao across the face. Lin Jiaojiao's eyes turned sharp. She rose, seized his arm, twisted and pulled. Crack. His shoulder dislocated. He crashed onto the ground, screaming in agony. Eldest son. Father and Mother Lin paled. You struck your own brother. You beast. I will fight you. Mother Lin threw herself at her. Lin Jiaojiao barely lifted her eyelids and kicked her. Mother Lin went flying. She crashed heavily into the door frame and slid down motionless for several seconds. Mother. The younger sister shrieked, her face draining of color. Father Lin, who had been pressing his wound, forgot about his injury. He grabbed a carrying pole leaning against the door. I will beat you to death, you ungrateful creature. Lin Jiaojiao raised her eyes toward this father, who had always ignored the original host and permitted his family to mistreat her. Instead of dodging, she advanced one step forward. That single step carried the killing aura forged amid mountains of corpses in the apocalypse. Father Lin froze. Before him was no longer his timid, submissive daughter. It was a ferocious beast ready to tear his throat out. Savage. Bloodthirsty. Lin Jiaojiao caught the descending carrying pole with one hand and kicked hard against Father Lin's knee. Father Lin screamed and pitched forward. His face slammed against a stool. 2 bloody teeth fell out of his mouth. My teeth. I've lost my teeth. 3 members of the family lay injured. Terrified, Lin Cece screamed at the top of her lungs. Murder. Help. She scrambled toward the doorway, screaming hysterically. Lin Jiaojiao ignored her. She stood in the middle of the courtyard holding the carrying pole, gazing indifferently at the 3 people writhing in pain. Master, shouldn't we stop Lin Cece? The artifact spirit sounded worried. Neighbors have gathered outside. If she spreads lies, everyone will hear that you attacked your family. Lin Jiaojiao toyed casually with the pole, a glint in her eyes. It will get out sooner or later. We might as well let everyone witness what happens today. Let the whole neighborhood hear about it. Why? The artifact spirit thought its master had lost her wits. Why commit violence openly and draw trouble upon herself? Because it feels satisfying. Truly unhinged. What if the public security officers arrest you? Let them take me away for a few days. I will come back and deal with them again. Not only unhinged, but reckless. It was breakfast time. Neighbors had already heard the commotion and crowded around the courtyard. When Lin Cece threw open the gate screaming for help, onlookers were shocked. Peering inside the house, good heavens, what happened to the Lin family? There's blood everywhere. Whispers exploded through the crowd. Blood? Was someone killed? Had the whole family perished? Rumors spread wildly, distorted into tales of a whole family massacre. Someone hurried to report to the police. Someone ran to notify the neighborhood committee. Others rushed to summon factory leaders. In no time, word of the terrible tragedies spread across the entire worker family compound. Inside the Lin courtyard, the household knew nothing of the wild rumors swirling outside. Spectators chattered loudly. 5 in the family, 3 are hurt. Cece says her elder sister did this. That can't be. Jiao Jiao has always been so quiet and meek. How could she attack people? Father Lin's face burned with humiliation. As an office worker, he valued his reputation greatly. To be assaulted by his own daughter in full view of the neighbors was the ultimate disgrace. Rage and hatred burned inside him. Lin Cece, get back here this instant. Father, realizing she had stirred up disaster, Lin Cece hesitated, afraid to step inside. Why are you shouting at Cece? Mother Lin snapped, then turned her fury toward Lin Jiaojiao. What sin have we committed? You monster, you even struck your own birth mother. I ought to have drowned you when you were an infant. Lin Jiaojiao shot her a cold glance. She would have taught her a lesson, but her mental ability sense warned that police officers were drawing near. Sure enough, police and officials hurried onto the scene. What exactly has happened here? The crowd parted for them. Voices overlapped as people recounted the events. When they saw everyone inside was still alive, the leaders heaved collective sighs of relief. What a fright. Early morning chaos had blown up into rumors of mass murder. If word spread further, higher authorities would be alerted. Call for a doctor. Examine these people. Onlookers helped the injured to their feet. After a quick examination, no fatal injuries. 1 dislocated shoulder, 1 back injury from impact, and 1 superficial head wound. The lost teeth can be replaced at the hospital. Thankfully, it was a false alarm. Relief quickly gave way to anger among the officials. Such trivial domestic strife had stirred up a huge commotion. Could people not live in peace? Lin Fugue, as head of household, how do you manage your family? Explain everything clearly. Comrade leaders, it is all a misunderstanding. Father Lin forced an awkward smile, seething hatred toward his 2 daughters. But Mother Lin cared no longer about saving face. She turned to the authorities, weeping loudly. Officers, public, security comrades, you must uphold justice for me. This girl struck her own birth mother. Look how brutally she attacked us, trying to kill us. All eyes followed her pointing finger. They saw the young woman standing apart, expression detached, holding the wooden carrying pole planted against the ground. Though her frame was slender, her upright posture, paired with the cold, detached aura surrounding her, lent her tremendous presence. It was her who attacked us. Comrades of the Public Security Bureau, arrest her at once. Mother Lin pointed furiously at Lin Jiaojiao, as if she wanted her executed on the spot. The public security officers exchanged glances. Recognizing this was merely a domestic dispute, they made no hasty arrests. Instead, they pulled out paper and pens to begin their investigation and questioning. Your name? Lin Jiaojiao cooperated readily. Lin Jiaojiao. Your mother claims you physically assaulted them. Do you admit it? I admit it, yet I also do not, Lin Jiaojiao answered earnestly. Bewilderment rippled through the onlookers. Even the officials could not help asking, young lady, did you or did you not lay hands on them? Lin Jiaojiao nodded calmly. I did make physical contact, but it was not an unprovoked assault. It was self-defense. Good grief. She was defending herself before any findings had been made. The officials and officers regarded her with new respect. This young woman was bold and resourceful, clearly certain of her position. Explain yourself in detail. They tried to force me into marriage with a mentally challenged man to secure wealth and status for our family. When I refused, they moved to beat me. My father was the first. He picked up a carrying pole and charged at me. In our tussle, he stumbled and struck a stool. My mother tried to strike me too, but lost her balance and crashed into the doorframe. My brother raised his hand to slap me. I grabbed his arm to stop him. He twisted hard and dislocated his own shoulder. Silence fell over the crowd. She had spun the violent incident with effortless understatement. Still, her logic held. If others set out to beat you, you could not simply stand there and take it. Self-defense. It was only reasonable. The public security officer turned toward the Lin family. Is that what happened? Though the facts matched her account, the Lin family still felt something was deeply wrong. You left me with a kick. How do you explain that? Mother Lin seized on this point. Lin Jiaojiao remained unruffled. All three of them attacked me at once. Panicked, I lashed out with one kick. It was not premeditated. That single kick sent me flying. You meant to kill us. I would never have kicked you had you not attacked me first. You cannot blame my response for your own poor balance. Lin Jiaojiao looked utterly innocent. She faced the officers again. I swear I only struck once. I stopped the moment they could no longer harm me. Not a second blow was delivered. You may examine their injuries to verify. She spoke with complete conviction and volunteered an injury inspection. Officers immediately ordered the examination to proceed. The findings matched exactly what Lin Jiaojiao had said. Aside from that single kick, there were no other marks of beating. Even that kick had not inflicted light-level injury. Its bruise would likely fade shortly. Mocking murmurs rose from the surrounding crowd. TSK. They started the fight, got beaten because they were no match for her, and still dare to play the victim. Old Lin's wife twists the truth so shamelessly. Pure malicious accusation. Pointed whispers weighed heavily on the Lin family. Yet Mother Lin refused to concede. Even so, I am her birth mother. It is right for a mother to discipline her child. How dare she fight back? Some nodded. Filial piety came above all else. A child ought never raise hands against their parents. But others pushed back. Filial piety worked both ways. If parents abused their child out of malice, resistance was understandable. Arguments broke out among the onlookers. Lin Jiaojiao watched the shouting crowd, her expression turning icy. She barked sharply silence. A faint surge of mental energy carried in her voice. The crowd fell dead, silent. The girl who had seemed so harmless moments before now stood like a cold queen, looking down on everyone present. All were stunned by her imposing bearing. I am unfilial? Her frigid gaze swept over those who had condemned her. You call me unfilial, only because you do not know what they have done. She abruptly pulled open her outer coat, revealing her shirt beneath. To the crowd's shock, she rolled up her sleeves and held out both arms for all to see. Gasps rippled through the onlookers. Bruises of varying ages, purple and blue, crossed her thin arms. Lin Jiaojiao stepped forward. She pointed at each mark, her voice steady yet resounding. This one dates back to when I was 5. I was beaten for failing to keep the stove fire burning. This is from age 7. I added too much water while cooking rice and was struck. This one came at 10. I got beaten for leaving one item unwashed after laundry. The crowd grew increasingly quiet and disturbed. Some spectators' eyes welled, others turned away, unable to bear the sight. Lin Jiaojiao lowered her sleeves and straightened her posture, her eyes sharp and piercing. For 18 years, no matter how much I was beaten, I never fought back once. Do you know why? Because of this so-called filial piety you all praise. And what did my obedience earn me? Constant beatings and scoldings over trivial grievances. Hunger and cold. They sought to trade my marital happiness for their own advancement. When I dared refuse, they intended to beat me into submission. Tell me, should I not resist? Should I not defend myself? Speak. Her final question boomed, carrying the force of thunderous outrage, as if heaven itself shared her fury. Yes, she should resist. She was right to fight back. Parents who treat their own child so cruelly deserve it. The crowd seethed with righteous anger. Several men rolled up their sleeves, ready to charge at the Lin family. Public security officers and officials hurried to contain the unrest. Lin Jiaojiao tapped the ground hard with the carrying pole. Quiet. A dull thud echoed. It felt as though the ground trembled faintly. The crowd fell silent once more. She turned her icy gaze to her father and mother. I respected you. I cared for you. And what did you give me in return? Beatings, insults, humiliation. My sincere heart has been trampled over and over again. Is this how you behave as parents? Are you even worthy of that title? Her face was stern as she shouted her accusations. She twirled the carrying pole and pointed it straight at the 4 members of the Lin household. The Lin family wished they could bury their heads underground. None dared utter a word. The crowd echoed her passionately. They are not worthy. Lin Jiaojiao's sharp voice cut across the roar. If you are unfit to be my parents, then I shall cease being your daughter. I sever all ties with you. She gripped both ends of the carrying pole and pulled with all her strength. Crack. The wooden pole snapped clean in two. From this day onward, our bond is like this broken pole. All connections are cut forever. The crowd cheered. Well said. Good riddance. We support this severance. Lin Jiaojiao tossed the broken segments onto the ground, shot the Lin parents a scornful glance, then faced the onlookers once again. She held up a hand to gesture for calm. The crowd quieted. I know some of you will disapprove of my actions. Even if branded unfilial, I will stand by what I have done. Her gaze was firm as she scanned every face, her tone ringing clear and resolute. Because, as our great leader has taught us, where there is oppression, there is resistance. I refuse to live like an enslaved person, scraping by without dignity. Therefore, I resist. I resist all oppression. I resist outdated feudal customs. I cast off old harmful traditions. I follow the party. I learn from our great leader. I uphold socialist core values. I will strive to become a truly free, equal, honest, friendly, patriotic, and dedicated person. Her back stood ramrod, straight. Light blazed in her eyes, the bright hope for a brand new future illuminating the path ahead. A voice sounded inside her spatial realm. Master, when did you write that speech? Lin Jiaojiao nearly lost her composure. Speech? This was impromptu, impassioned oratory. Shut up. Do not ruin the moment. When her stirring address ended, silence hung for a long moment. Then thunderous applause erupted from the crowd. Well spoken. The officials led the clapping, astonished that such a young woman held such lofty ideological awareness. Cheers rose everywhere. We must stand up against oppression. Lin Fugue and his wife are feudal oppressors, treating their own child as labor and merchandise. Someone shouted out loud, down with oppressors. Down with old, world feudal thinking. That cry ignited the crowd like water poured into hot oil. Down with them. Down with harmful old customs. Fired up spectators surged into the courtyard. Someone threw a rotten cabbage leaf, which splattered across Father Lin's face. Next came rotten eggs, decayed vegetable scraps, slop, even small stones. Everything rained down on the Lin parents. Stop. Stop it. Father Lin hunched over and fled toward the main hall. Mother Lin shrieked and darted about. Lin Jiaojiao's elder brother and younger sister also got caught in the barrage, crying in terror. Several spectators closed in on Father Lin, landing blows. This punch is for every wrong done to Jiaojiao. This kick pays back years of her suffering. Two women grabbed Mother Lin by the hair and dragged her out of hiding, striking her face. How dare you mistreat your own child? Down with feudal parental tyranny. Chaos engulfed the yard. Public security officers and officials struggled desperately to stop the mob violence. Everyone, hold your hands. Authorities will handle this matter. No more fighting. Great effort was needed to restore order. The crowd gradually calmed down. An official looked at the battered Father Lin and sighed. Lin Fugue, you and your wife are suspended from work for the next few days. Stay home and reflect on your conduct. Father Lin nodded, clutching his aching head. The official turned to the onlookers. Everyone disperse. The factory will deal with this case. Return to your workplaces. It is growing late. People drifted away in small groups, still chattering. Lin Fugue has gotten what he deserves. Serves him right for his cruelty. That poor girl Jiaojiao, stuck with such parents. Quiet finally returned to the courtyard. The official shook his head at the four Lin family members, then turned toward Lin Jiaojiao with a warm smile. Young lady, you have a promising future. These seasoned officials could see clearly. This girl had planned every step carefully. Everything unfolded logically, leaving no grounds for criticism. The neighborhood director and Women's Federation cadres stepped forward and patted her shoulders. Child, you have suffered. We failed to protect you from such hardship. Should they dare harm you again in future, we will stand up for you. Lin Jiaojiao expressed her sincere gratitude. Once the officials departed, public security officers remained to finish taking statements. Captain He, in his 40s with 20+ years of service in public security, had spotted several odd details throughout the incident. Comrade Lin Jiaojiao, do you know martial arts? His question was direct, yet carried no malice, only the admiration of an older man observing an impressive young person. This was exactly what she had waited for. Calmly, Lin Jiaojiao delivered the prepared explanation. When I was little, an elderly neighbor named Grandpa Zhao, a war veteran, took pity on me and taught me basic self-defense techniques. This was genuine history belonging to the original host body. Unfortunately, Mother Lin had discovered the lessons, beaten her, and forbidden further practice. The original girl, too afraid to resist, had obeyed. Aunt Zhao and several other neighbors can confirm this. Lin Jiaojiao gestured toward witnesses, still lingering in the yard. One of the named women spoke up. That was my father. Seeing how often this poor child was beaten, he taught her to defend herself. I watched her practice stances back then. So young, yet she endured hardship without complaint. Later her mother found out and banned it. We never saw her practice outdoors again. Lin Jiaojiao guided the conversation onward. Afraid of mother finding out, I kept practicing in secret after that. Grandpa Zhao was long deceased. With only secret practice to claim, no one could disprove her story. Captain He accepted her account, growing all the more admiring that a young girl had persisted and mastered such capability. The precision and placement of that kick suggest you also understand human anatomy. The force had been perfectly calibrated. A fraction more would cause severe injury, a fraction less would prove useless. Even the angle was exact, barely missing vital points. Lin Jiaojiao nodded. Since I was frequently injured, an elderly neighbor woman who practiced traditional Chinese medicine treated my wounds and shared basic medical knowledge with me. Again, nearby residents who knew the story volunteered confirmation. More knowledgeable neighbors, all now deceased, yet with living eyewitnesses. Captain He felt a strange sense of amusement. Had he not witnessed events firsthand, he would suspect she invented these convenient mentors. Yet this factory compound truly held kind-hearted elders who had taken pity on the abused girl. Her luck was almost unbelievable. Lin Jiaojiao smiled serenely to herself. Bring on more questions. She could invent more kind elderly neighbors to explain every skill she possessed. All conveniently beyond questioning because they had passed away. Comrade Lin, would you consider joining our public security bureau? She was an extraordinary talent. Her kicking accuracy and the strength to snap a carrying pole outmatched many seasoned officers. Lin Jiaojiao politely declined. As if she would take on official duties, even less here. Captain He left, filled with regret. Lin Jiaojiao felt deeply satisfied. Today's spectacle perfectly justified her drastic shift in personality, laid groundwork for severing family ties, and gave public context for her martial and medical skills. No one would suspect her anymore. Multiple goals achieved in one stroke. Perfect. Lost in her satisfied thoughts, a voice echoed once more from her spatial realm. Master, your husband is here. Master, your husband is here. Lin Jiaojiao blinked in confusion. Huh? The male lead from the novel, Lu Chuan. He was the original host's fiancé, not mine. Stop calling him that. Still, curiosity stirred. The book's hero, stepping out from fiction into reality. She craned her neck, searching. Where? I do not see him. Outside the courtyard gate, Lu Chuan stepped out from behind a large tree. Dressed in military uniform, tall and powerfully built at over 6 feet, he stood out strikingly among onlookers. Lin Jiaojiao spotted him immediately. He was undeniably handsome, every inch the leading man. Why are you here? Memories of the original host told her he was supposed to be away on a mission for 1 or 2 months. What brought him back early? The mission got cancelled at short notice. Lu Chuan halted before her, his expression dazed. He had arrived long before and watched everything unfold from afar. He had held back at first, their relationship was still undisclosed, and he feared drawing unwanted attention onto her. When Father Lin raised the pole to strike her, he had prepared to rush in. Yet Lin Jiaojiao had acted far faster. Before he could intervene, the stool flew. He froze. In the span of a breath, she had subdued 3 attackers with clean, decisive moves. He never even got his hero's entrance. Shock and bewilderment washed over him. Where was the gentle, obedient girl he had known? How could she fight so fiercely? Lin Jiaojiao met his unblinking stare. Was he going to keep standing there silently? The silence grew awkward. Her space spirit chimed in. Master, he saw you fight. Is he frightened? Lin Jiaojiao arched an eyebrow. More likely he is awestruck by how capable I am. The space spirit fell quiet. Conceited, it thought. Lin Jiaojiao glanced around the crowded yard. This place is too public. Let us talk somewhere else. Very well. The pair walked out of the courtyard. What Lin Jiaojiao failed to notice was that inside a military, Gray jeep parked around the corner. A pair of deep eyes watched her departing figure. "Commander, that young lady is incredible." What powerful words! Driver Zhou watched in excitement, half tempted to join the crowd standing up for her. This girl is no ordinary person. Seated in the back row, the commander, a man in his 50s, saw things with great depth. Young as she is, she possesses great insight. Nurture her well, and she will achieve extraordinary things in the future. Xiao Zhang's eyes lit up. Glancing at the rear view mirror, he said, "Commander, since you hold her in such high regard, why don't we recruit her into the military?" The commander chuckled. "I would certainly like to, but it depends on whether she is willing." At that moment, the man in the front passenger seat, who had remained silent all this time, suddenly spoke. "She will not agree." "What makes you say that?" "A feeling." The commander looked on in surprise. His son was usually cold and taciturn, as though he cared for no one and nothing. It was unexpected to see him observing a young woman so intently. What was more, this ever-rational man was now relying on intuition. This was intriguing. The commander had an idea at once. "Third son, why don't you go down and get to know her?" Xiao Zhou joined in the teasing. "Yes, Battalion Commander Gu. You are nearly 30, it is high time you found a partner. If you pass up such an outstanding girl, you might end up a bachelor for life." Gu Xiao ignored them. Yet inside, a faint disturbance stirred. A partner? He had no thoughts in that direction. He merely admired an exceptional individual, nothing more, regardless of gender. Still, he could not deny how different she was from anyone he had ever met. She refused to play the weak to win sympathy. Instead, she met conflict head-on. She confronted adversaries from an equal stance, with broad-minded principles, crushing them completely and leaving them no room to fight back. That was the mindset of a strong person. From the moment she had recounted her wounds, not weeping in submission but speaking with icy rebuke, he had known. Her inner self was incredibly strong, almost unfeeling. In that instant, he had felt the mutual respect that arises between worthy rivals. "I wonder if she already has a boyfriend," the commander muttered tentatively. Seeing his son give no response, he grew annoyed. "You stubborn boy. With your icy disposition, even if you were interested, she might not take a fancy to you." "Humph." Xiao Zhou snickered. Suddenly he spotted someone step out from behind a large tree. A young serviceman walked over to the girl. They clearly knew each other. After a few brief words, they headed outward together. "Huh?" Xiao Zhou looked confused. "Isn't that Lu Chuan?" The commander also caught sight of them. "You know him?" "I do." Xiao Zhou pointed at the soldiers retreating back. "That is Lu Chuan. He was just promoted to company commander this year. I believe he serves in the same regiment as Battalion Commander Gu. He is quite capable. He took second place in the entire regiment's military competition last year. We trained together for a short while. He is a good man." He paused, glancing toward the girl, and realization dawned. "I remember hearing him mention he had a girlfriend in the capital. He said he intended to propose once this mission concluded. Could this be her?" The commander sighed with regret. "What a fine young woman. It is a pity she is already taken." Xiao Zhou cast a sympathetic glance at Gu Xiao. Whether the battalion commander had harbored interest or not, it must feel bitter to have someone beat him to it before anything even began. The vehicle started moving again. Gu Xiao leaned back against the passenger seat cushion. Outwardly calm, his deep eyes tracked the slender figure until it vanished from sight, before he quietly looked away. Lu Chuan. He had heard of him, a promising talent whom higher-ups were actively cultivating. To be this girl's partner spoke well of his judgment and good fortune. Gu Xiao lowered his gaze, then froze. Unconsciously, his fingers had tightened around the brim of his military cap resting on his knee, his knuckles turning pale. What was happening to him? Had he been swept up in the girl's emotions? He wondered to himself. He had never imagined his normally impassive state of mind could be shaken. The sensation was novel. He glanced out the window once more, yet there was nothing left to see. Elsewhere, Lin Jiaojiao and Lu Chuan found a quiet, secluded spot. Shaken by what had just unfolded, Lu Chuan's worry for her deepened. He got straight to the point. "Let us get married." Lin Jiaojiao fell speechless. She had not even figured out how to bring up breaking up, and he was already proposing marriage. She was not the original host of this body. She felt no affection for the male lead and certainly had no intention of marrying him casually. "System, tell me about. I have adopted a child." Lin Jiaojiao had meant to ask the system for details of the novel's plot, when Lu Chuan's astonishing statement cut her off. Wait a moment. Lin Jiaojiao interrupted, uncertain. Did you just say you adopted a child? Lu Chuan nodded gravely. A while ago, a comrade in arms sacrificed his life saving me. He left behind a 1-year-old boy. Lin Jiaojiao felt sorrow for the loss. What about his wife? That woman was idle and irresponsible. She never cared for the child after he was born. Now she has taken the compensation money and run off. Lin Jiaojiao fell silent for a moment. What of his parents and siblings? His parents are alive, and his siblings get along well. I see. Lin Jiaojiao nodded slowly. So the boy was being cared for by his grandparents, correct? Yes. The military will provide survivor benefits, and as a martyr's orphan, the child will receive state support until adulthood, will he not? That is right. Given that there are family members willing to raise him and financial support available, why must you adopt him? Lu Chuan sensed something amiss and stared at her in bewilderment. Lin Jiaojiao raised a hand to stop him and pressed on. Did the grandparents give up their guardianship? Lu Chuan stiffened, then shook his head honestly. No. They are advanced in years, and I do not trust them to raise the boy, so I took the initiative to secure legal guardianship. You do not trust them? A dry laugh escaped Lin Jiaojiao. If you did not trust them, why did your fallen comrade trust them with his son while he was alive? Lu Chuan had no reply. Lin Jiaojiao folded her arms, watching the man before him, who was beginning to sense his own misstep. Her tone remained level. Is the guardianship already finalized? Lu Chuan nodded with difficulty. We are supposed to be lovers, and you intend to build a marriage with me. Yet you made such a huge decision without even consulting me. Where do I stand in all of this? Panic overtook Lu Chuan. I was overwhelmed by the urgency of the situation. I planned to tell you once everything was settled. Lin Jiaojiao corrected him calmly. That is informing me, not consulting me. Lu Chuan opened his mouth but could not find words. Have you thought about who will look after this child? Lin Jiaojiao continued. You are in the military, occupied with training and missions. How many days a year can you return home? Your parents are elderly and in poor health, unable to take care of him. Who will watch over the boy when you are away? Her gaze was sharp as a drawn blade. Will it be you? Or will it be me? Lu Chuan's face drained of color. I never thought that far ahead. Did you truly not think ahead, or do you simply not value my input? Did you assume I was meek and compliant, so you could make major life choices for me and assign me new responsibilities? You take unfair advantage of people who do not stand up for themselves. Her voice stayed calm, yet carried unassailable weight, laying bare the unexamined assumptions buried deep within his heart. Lu Chuan's face turned completely pale. He wanted to argue, yet all words stuck in his throat. Everything she said was true. His Adam's apple bobbed. His voice grew hoarse. Jiaojiao, that is not what I meant. I thought you would understand. Lin Jiaojiao let out a cold laugh laced with open mockery. I can understand your sense of loyalty to your fallen comrade. But you cannot shift your personal emotional burdens onto another person. You gain honor and peace of mind through this adoption, yet all the practical hardship falls on others. How can you treat your future spouse like this? Lu Chuan hung his head, unable to meet her eyes. Lin Jiaojiao pressed forward, stepping closer, her gaze icy. There are many ways to repay a debt of gratitude. Instead, you chose to make someone else bear your burden. That is self-serving and unscrupulous. And no, that is not. Lu Chuan stepped backward, his features ashen. Is it not? Have you given any thought to whether I could endure holding down work, raising this child, and tending to your parents all at once? What if my health collapses under the strain? Would guilt weigh on you then? For a split second, Lu Chuan's mind conjured a vivid vision. A frail young woman burdened with a child, worn down by endless household labor, her body broken by overwork. No, Lu Chuan gasped for air, snapping back to reality. Shocked and unsettled, his chest ached from the haunting mental image. Lin Jiaojiao withdrew her mental ability and looked at him coldly. We are breaking up. Lu Chuan lifted his head sharply. Jiaojiao. What? Do you believe you can act like this, and I will meekly accept my fate and stay with you? She let out a scoff. Even if we were already married, I would divorce you. Tears welled in Lu Chuan's eyes. He moved toward her. Jiaojiao, do not say this. We can work something out. Work something out? The solution you imagine is for me to take on the childcare duties, is it not? I am sorry, but we are not compatible. You want a wife who will stay home to raise your child and care for your elders, freeing you to advance your military career. What I want is a partner who consults me on important matters, respects me, and sees me as an equal, not a live and caretaker. She stared straight into his eyes, enunciating every word. We are not suited for one another. Luchuan felt all strength drain from his body. He wanted to say he could change, that they could try again. Yet all that came out was a desperate plea. Jiao Jiao, give me one more chance. Lin Jiaojiao's expression remained detached. I am not asking for your opinion. I am informing you. We are done. Let us part amicably. Goodbye. Lin Jiaojiao walked away without hesitation. Luchuan stood rooted to the spot for a very long time. As the morning breeze stirred and blurred the moisture in his eyes, only for it to gather once more. On her way home. System. I am here, host. In the novel, did the original host agree to marry him? Presumably so. It went without saying. The original host had hoped marriage would free her from her parents' pressure, only for it to seal her unhappy fate. It was infuriating. This man, for all his loyalty, would drag his spouse down. How could he be cast as the male lead in a romance novel? The system trembled inwardly. Its host was formidable, ready to call anyone out. She had publicly denounced her parents, and now she had torn into the male lead. It dared not get on her bad side. A thought occurred to Lin Jiaojiao. The original host should still be alive at this point in the timeline. How did we end up here? I struck a deal with her. She moved on ahead of schedule. What deal? I told her the full truth and granted her a wisp of your karmic merit. She will live a life of comfort and prosperity in another world. She agreed happily. Lin Jiaojiao nodded in approval. Since it was a mutual bargain, neither owes the other. You handled it well. The system grew delighted. Thank you for your praise, host. Love you, Lin Jiaojiao smiled. You are a spiritual artifact. Where did you pick up internet slang? You forget, I am a spatial artifact. I can access information from countless worlds. Being cooped up alone is boring, so I browse digital content and read novels. Chatting back and forth, they soon reached home. The courtyard was in complete disarray, untouched. The 4 members of the Lin family huddled inside the house, whispering among themselves. When they spotted Lin Jiaojiao return, they froze, then erupted in rage. How dare you show your face here? Father Lin flew into a fury, springing to his feet and pointing an accusing finger. Ungrateful girl. I raised you for 18 years. Now you have grown bold and insulted your own father in front of outsiders. Have you no humanity? Mother Lin joined in the berating. Quiet dogs bite hardest. You were always so reserved, and now you lash out like this. Elder brother Lin glared fiercely, malice in his features. We were careless this morning. I refuse to believe a girl like you can overpower the 3 of us. He rolled up his sleeves threateningly. Father, mother, grab her arms from either side. Let us see how defiant she can be then. Father Lin and Mother Lin moved immediately to seize her. Some people simply never learned their lesson. Lin Jiaojiao stood at the gate, unhurriedly closed the outer door, and slid the bolt home. She turned to face the 3 charging toward her, her eyes sharp. She stretched out both hands, catching Father Lin and Mother Lin by the wrists, pressing against pressure points on their inner arms, and applied force. Sharp pain shot through half their bodies. At the same time, Lin Jiaojiao pushed off the ground, leaping upward and kicked Elder Brother Lin squarely on the chin. Elder Brother Lin's head snapped backward. He stumbled and crashed heavily onto the ground. Son. Father Lin and Mother Lin were stunned. They had thought she had only gotten lucky earlier due to their carelessness. Now they realized she genuinely knew martial arts. Their anger faded, replaced by fear, yet they dared not attack again. Let go of us. We can talk this through. It is unbecoming for a young woman to resort to violence. They twisted and strained, unable to break free of her grip. Lin Jiaojiao ignored their plea and spoke to the system. Can you activate the spatial barrier to contain all sound inside this area? Child's play. The system activated the barrier at once. Within its bounds lay an isolated pocket of reality. No noise, no matter how loud, could escape to the outside world. Their spiritual link let Lin Jiaojiao sense the effect instantly. Perfect. She looked at the struggling pair. Now you want to talk reasonably? Too late. Instead of releasing them, she tightened her hold. It hurts. Let go. You beast. Are you trying to kill us? Father Lin roared, too proud to beg for mercy. Kill you. Lin Jiaojiao smiled faintly, with the amusement of watching prey struggle. Killing you would be far too dull. What I want is to see you weep and beg for mercy on your knees. Fear flashed across Mother Lin's face. What are you going to do? Fear not. You will survive what comes next. Lin Jiaojiao smiled broadly, showing all her teeth in what she thought was a friendly grin. The system shuddered. Her smile looked terrifying, like a demon come to claim souls. Lin Jiaojiao shoved Mother Lin aside, dragged Father Lin toward her, and struck him twice across the face. Smack. Smack. He reeled from the blows. As a father, you stood by while your wife and other child bullied me. Do you not deserve this? Father Lin burned with rage, trying to shout insults. Lin Jiaojiao would not give him the chance and struck him twice more. You loved to make all the decisions for the family, yet you never stood up for your own daughter. Since you would not defend me, I must claim justice for myself. She tapped several points on his torso. She did not appear to exert great strength, yet Father Lin screamed in agony, as though knives were cutting into him from within. He writhed and rolled on the ground in torment. Mother Lin stared in horror. What have you done to him? Lin Jiaojiao advanced toward her. Mother Lin shrank backward in terror. Stay away. I will scream for help. Lin Jiaojiao's lips curved into a malicious smirk as she closed in. Scream all you like. No one will hear you. She knelt before her and delivered a hard slap. Smack. I have longed to hit you for a long time. Smack. Always putting on a virtuous act for outsiders. Smack. Are you not fond of striking others? Smack. Now you will taste what it feels like. Blow after blow landed, until Mother Lin's face swelled badly. Her vision swam, her teeth loose in her aching mouth. That was not all. Lin Jiaojiao also struck pressure points on her body. Another shrill wail echoed inside the barrier. Dash. The pain. Help. Someone save me. Mother Lin shrieked at the top of her lungs, hoping to draw rescue, overwhelmed by excruciating agony. Eldest brother Lin had just recovered from getting his head kicked, which had left him dizzy and throbbing with pain. The horrifying scene unfolding before his eyes nearly terrified him out of his wits. He lay perfectly still, pretending to be dead, too scared to get up. But Lin Jiaojiao had no intention of letting him off the hook. She walked toward him step by step, and with each step, eldest brother Lin's heart hammered harder. Sweat beaded on his forehead from sheer terror. Well, look who's lying there so comfortably, big brother. No reply. Time to get up. Still no response. Lin Jiaojiao raised an eyebrow. Did he really think playing dead would work? He was not going to get away that easily. She gave him a sharp kick. Ow! Eldest brother Lin shot to his feet, overcome by rage. I'll fight you. Before he could steady himself, another kick sent him crashing hard against the wall. Pfft! Blood spurted from his mouth. It felt as though his internal organs had been badly jolted. Fight me? What do you have to fight with? Do you even possess the strength? Lin Jiaojiao stood over him, her gaze sharp with undisguised scorn. This man was utterly detestable. Relying on his greater physical strength as a man, he had regularly beaten the original host. Whenever something upset him, striking even harder than Mother Lin. Big brother, you loved taking out all your frustrations on me. Today, you get to know exactly what it feels like to be someone's punching bag. Clenching her fists, Lin Jiaojiao laid into him. Thud, thud, thud. Stop hitting me. I'm sorry. Spare me. I'll never do it again. Help. Writhing in agony, eldest brother Lin quickly collapsed to his knees begging for mercy, tears and snot streaming down his face. Lin Jiaojiao stopped, repulsed by the sight. Then she repeated the same treatment on the others. One blow after another drew cries of pain. Within moments, wails and screams echoed non-stop throughout the house. Only one person was still unpunished. She turned her gaze toward younger sister Lin's room and said coldly, Are you going to crawl out by yourself, or do I have to drag you out? Hidden behind the door, younger sister Lin shuddered, hot tears streaming down her cheeks. She was terrified, wishing someone would come save her. Growing impatient, Lin Jiaojiao warned, If you don't come out right now. Before she could finish her sentence, the door flew open. Younger sister Lin stumbled out and dropped heavily to her knees, kowtowing frantically as she sobbed and pleaded. Sister, I'm sorry. Please don't hit me. I truly know I was wrong. Lin Jiaojiao fell silent. The space spirit also fell silent. She was spineless, but at least her attitude was sincere. Lin Jiaojiao glanced down at her own hands. Her hands ached. She was worn out from fighting today. She would deal with her some other time. She shot younger sister Lin a glance and turned toward her own bedroom. I'm hungry. Go make me something to eat. I really am sorry, huh? Younger sister Lin blinked in shock, certain she had misheard. She lifted her head in bewilderment, watching Lin Jiaojiao's retreating back. I don't know how to cook," the words spilled out before she could think. When Lin Jiaojiao looked back at her, she panicked and hastily corrected herself. I can boil eggs. I'll go do it right away." Inside her bedroom, Lin Jiaojiao flopped onto the bed and finally let out a breath. She was exhausted. Barely one morning had passed since she had transmigrated. She had woken up straight into fights, dealing with cruel family members and ending a relationship. She had not eaten a single bite. Even with her supernatural abilities bolstering her, this frail body could barely hold on. Why are my supernatural powers still here? Master, abilities come in different types. Yours are mentally triggered, tied to your soul rather than your physical body. That is why they traveled with you across worlds. She understood now. She wielded mental, type and thunder, type abilities. Mental power drew strength directly from her soul. Thunder power was an elemental ability that let her draw on thunder energy from the surroundings. Even so, unleashing its full power required a strong, healthy body. Lin Jiaojiao sighed. This body is far too weak. Its foundations are damaged. Even with careful nourishment, it would take 10 or 8 years for me to reach the physical condition I had in my past life. The space spirit let out a mysterious little chuckle. Master, don't forget about me. You don't need to wait 10 or 8 years. Within just a few hours, I can restore you to your peak condition. Lin Jiaojiao perked up immediately. You have a way? Do you know why you were brought to this world? Lin Jiaojiao recalled the words the space spirit had shouted during the transmigration. Because your other half is here? Correct. Curiosity flared. Did you have a partner? What happened between you two? Did they leave you? The space spirit lapsed into silence. Her master's curiosity was burning bright, yet she had completely misunderstood everything. Lin Jiaojiao frowned. What do you mean? Master, when I say my other half, I do not mean a romantic partner. My original artifact form was split in two. Half of me was lost in this world. Lin Jiaojiao coughed awkwardly. How did you get split apart? To put it simply, two powerful cultivators from another cultivation world fought over possession of me, and accidentally shattered me into two pieces. Poor thing. That is not important. What matters is that the missing half holds spiritual spring water, capable of cleansing and renewing one's meridians and physical constitution. Spiritual spring water? Lin Jiaojiao shot upright in bed. Where is it? Buried right under your bed. Really that close? It was the original host who dug it up. Lin Jiaojiao scrambled out of bed and bent over, ready to crawl underneath the bed. The space spirit was stunned. Master, what are you doing? I'm digging out your other half. The space spirit quickly stopped her. I can teleport and retrieve it from afar. There is no need for you to dig manually. Lin Jiaojiao froze. She had forgotten that her space was no ordinary power. It possessed its own magic. She straightened up, brushing dust off her clothes, and said with deliberate composure, Then I shall leave it to you. The space spirit laughed inwardly. Her master could be sharp, witted and calm one moment, then utterly silly the next. A small golden light orb floated out from Lin Jiaojiao's forehead, darted under the bed, and vanished. Lin Jiaojiao sat on the bed waiting eagerly. Compared to this mighty artifact spirit, she felt almost useless. In the blink of an eye, the golden orb floated back holding a small cloth pouch, appearing out of thin air in front of her. She took the pouch and opened it. Inside lay a pale green safety lock jade pendant. Its surface was smooth and warm, strung on a brand new red braided cord. Is this it? It looked quite ordinary. Perhaps powerful artifacts hid their true appearance. Yes, this is exactly it. The space spirit confirmed. Master, I will merge with this fragment now. It will be quick. With that, it fell silent. Lin Jiaojiao did not disturb it. She was about to lie back down when someone knocked on her door. Sister, the eggs are done. Come in. Younger sister Lin entered holding 2 bowls, her manner overly obliging. I also made you a bowl of brown sugar water. Please try it. Lin Jiaojiao glanced at the boiled eggs and brown sugar water. The thought that the food might have been tampered with made her uneasy, so she did not reach for them. Seeing her hesitation, younger sister Lin feared she was displeased and hurried to explain. There are only 3 eggs left in the house. I don't know how to make anything else, and there is no time to learn new recipes right now. She looked genuinely anxious, not deceitful. Set them down, Lin Jiaojiao said. Younger sister Lin breathed a sigh of relief. Cries of pain drifted in from the outer room, making her nervous. What about Mom and Dad? They will be fine in half an hour. Out in the main room, the three family members rolled across the floor in agony. They threw themselves against the front door, yet it stayed firmly shut no matter how hard they pulled and pushed. They shouted for help, but the neighbors who normally rushed over for every little commotion remained completely quiet. Fear washed over them. What kind of strange occurrence was this? Back in the bedroom, Lin Jiaojiao tuned out the background noise completely. The two bowls sat on a stool. She still had not touched them. Then the space spirit's voice echoed inside her mind. You may eat. My domain covers the whole house. She did not tamper with the food. Lin Jiaojiao was surprised. Aren't you busy merging with the artifact fragment? Can you still keep watch? It is almost finished, so I can manage. Reassured, she ate. Food gave her weakened body a small measure of strength. After eating, she grew bored. She opened her wardrobe and picked up a shard of mirror. She studied her reflection. She was quite beautiful, though her complexion was poor and she was severely underweight. She had an oval face, large apricot-shaped eyes, a straight nose, and well-defined lips, possessing a pure, delicate kind of beauty. Malnutrition kept that beauty from shining fully. With proper care, she would be absolutely striking. Lin Jiaojiao was satisfied. She rummaged through the wardrobe further, but found nothing but worn-out clothes and bedding. It made sense. Within this household, the original host had been treated like a servant. Anything good she owned would have been seized by others. The jade artifact fragment had been unearthed by the original host by accident when she slipped beside a river the previous month. She had secretly buried it under her bed, planning to keep it for her dowry. Just then, a strange ripple stirred within her spirit. Master, the merge is complete. You may now enter the space with your physical body. Lin Jiaojiao's eyes lit up. Before she could react, a gentle force pulled her into an unfamiliar place. Stretching out before her were blue skies, white clouds, green mountains, and clear waters. Vast fertile land spread beneath her feet. Layered green mountains rose in the distance, and sparkling rivers wound through valleys and fields. It was a picturesque, idyllic landscape. Yet there was no trace of daily life. No farmhouses, no clucks of chickens or barks of dogs. The place was eerily quiet, devoid of living creatures. The space spirit appeared as a golden orb floating before her. Master, this is not my true core region. Lin Jiaojiao stared in amazement. This place is huge and beautiful, and it is only a small portion? This is merely a fraction of my space world. Your current cultivation level is too low. If you stepped into the energy-rich core region, your body would be torn apart. I isolated the safe zone especially for you. Thank you for pointing that out, Lin Jiaojiao replied dryly. Work hard on your cultivation, and you will unlock my true inner world one day. The space was enormous. Even the land right under her feet would take ages to traverse. To say nothing of the endless mountain ranges in the distance. Now that she had a portable space, she wanted to build a home here. After looking over the terrain, she chose a spot against the foot of a mountain beside a river as her base. How should I build a house? Do I need to construct it outside and bring it in? As she pondered this, the space spirit floated over and tossed out many miniature house models. Master, I have many habitable magic artifacts. Drip your blood on one, and it will materialize fully furnished. Pick whichever style you like. I can also modify it for you. Lin Jiaojiao was dumbfounded. This was supposed to be a time-travel story set in the 1970s, yet it felt like a xianxia cultivation novel. I want a pastoral-style fenced courtyard, but with modern-style conveniences inside the buildings. She went through the models and picked several appealing ones. She planned to switch residences from time to time to make full use of them. Very well. The space spirit wrapped one miniature model and flew to the selected location. Brilliant light flashed, and a fenced courtyard materialized on the ground. Half-height fences were covered in blooming flowers forming lovely walls. A gravel path led through the gate. On both sides of the yard grew fresh vegetables and fruit plants. At the center stood a 3-story villa with soft, lovely pale pink exteriors. A pavilion, a swing set, and an ornamental fountain stood out front. Clear spring water bubbled continuously from the fountain. Is that spiritual spring water? Lin Jiaojiao hurried forward. Yes. It comes from the same source as the mountain river. I channeled it here so you would not need to go to the river every time. The space spirit had thought of everything. Can I drink it directly? She dipped her fingers into the pool and felt rich energy seep into her skin. Yes. I have diluted it. Drinking it will not overwhelm your body. Ordinary people who take one sip can heal injuries and illnesses. Regular consumption strengthens the body and prolongs life. Cultivators can boost their power with it. Lin Jiaojiao's eyes sparkled. She cupped her hands, took a sip, and found the water crisp and sweet. Drinking slowly was too slow, so she leaned down and drank straight from the pool. The space spirit watched, thinking its master really had no regard for elegant manners. As the water went down, warm currents spread from her throat to every corner of her body, repairing her meridians and cells. Impurities and old hidden damage inside her were drawn out through her pores. Lin Jiaojiao felt her body growing lighter, every breath feeling wonderfully easy. She rolled up her sleeves. Scars on her arms faded, and calluses on her hands grew thinner. She was delighted, but soon noticed a foul smell coming off herself, the stench of expelled bodily waste coating her skin. I need to take a bath. Very well, master. I will keep watch over the outside world. Inside the villa, the decor was fresh and pastoral. All sorts of household appliances were present: televisions, refrigerators, washing machines, water heaters. Strangely, there were no wires or power sockets, yet everything functioned perfectly. Even the bathroom ran on spiritual spring water. Lin Jiaojiao could hardly believe it. Spiritual spring water, so precious outside, was used freely for bathing here. It was extravagant, and she loved it. After a refreshing bath, she toured the kitchen. Cooking utensils were complete, and fruit and vegetables grew in the yard, but there were no seasonings. She made a mental note to stock up later. She needed to hoard all kinds of daily supplies now that she owned a space. She raised an important question. Will food stay fresh stored inside here? This zone will not preserve food long-term, but I can create a separate sealed storage area with time-stop effects. Items kept there will never spoil. You are amazing. Lin Jiaojiao's joy was plain to see. The golden orb glowed faintly pink, pleased by the praise. Together they planned a large warehouse behind the villa, laid out like a modern supermarket with goods sorted on shelves. Outside the courtyard, they would plant an orchard and raise chickens, ducks, cattle, sheep, and fish, striving to turn the space into a completely self-sufficient paradise. Back in the main house, after half an hour of rolling and screaming in pain, the 3 injured family members' suffering finally subsided. Their throats were raw from shouting. Father, mother, take me to the hospital. I think I'm dying. Eldest brother Lin lay on the floor, badly bruised and without any strength left. Take you? I wish someone would take me. My face is practically ruined, Mother Lin retorted, disheveled and covered in dirt and sweat. Quit arguing. The door won't open anyway, Father Lin said. Though badly hurt, he propped himself against the wall and looked toward younger sister Lin. Cece, you have been fiddling with it for ages. Why can't you open the door? Younger sister Lin was sweating profusely. Father, the latch is stuck as if glued shut. I cannot move it at all. Try using a knife. I already tried. I used kitchen knives, scissors, screwdrivers, nothing works. It was uncanny. Not only the door, but even the windows would not slide open, despite being unlocked. She banged and shouted for help, yet no neighbor appeared. This dragged on for the whole morning. When Lin Jiaojiao felt hungry, she finally stepped out of her bedroom. The 4 family members instantly fell quiet, barely daring to breathe, afraid of drawing her attention. Lin Jiaojiao leaned against the doorframe with folded arms, observing their miserable appearances. Tisk tisk. You all look quite pitiful. The 3 on the floor glared inwardly but dared not utter a word. Having had her fill of watching them, Lin Jiaojiao pushed the front door open and walked outside. The door opened just like that? The 4 stared in utter disbelief. All their combined strength had failed to move it, yet she pushed it open effortlessly. What on earth was going on? Master, should I keep the domain active? No. Lift the restriction. Let them go wherever they want. Overjoyed to be free, the 4 Lin family members rushed outside. They intended to seek medical treatment, get official injury assessments, and use that evidence to bring trouble down on Lin Jiaojiao. Little did they know, the moment Lin Jiaojiao stepped outside, she had told the space spirit to release fine mist containing diluted spiritual spring water. As they breathed in the mist, their wounds began healing gradually. By the time they would reach the hospital, it was 1973, a time of strict economic controls. Tickets were required for nearly every purchase, even for eating out in restaurants. Lin Jiaojiao rummaged through her pockets. Great. Bare as her face. Not a single cent. Not even a ration coupon of any kind. Standing in front of the state-run restaurant, Lin Jiaojiao fell completely silent for a full minute. Only then did she trudge dejectedly back home. When she arrived, the other 4 members of the Lin family were long gone, and the front door was locked tight. Locking me out? Master, it might not be aimed at you. People lock doors when they go out, after all. She had no key, so brute force entry was her only option. The original owner owned nothing of value, so she headed straight for her father and mother's bedroom. She opened a desk drawer and found an iron tin box holding a few yuan, plus several grain coupons and meat coupons. That would keep her fed for several days. She stuffed everything into her pockets. Master, there are 2 hidden compartments in this room filled with money. Her spatial system initiated an automatic scan and transmitted the locations directly to Lin Jiaojiao's mind via mental imagery. A 3-dimensional transparent schematic of the house unfolded in her thoughts. The entire building was rendered see-through, every nook and cranny laid bare. One hollowed-out wall niche sat beside the bed frame and another next to the desk. Inside the first was a malt milk canister. It contained tightly rolled wads of banknotes, neatly sorted coupons of various types, and gold and silver jewelry wrapped in silk handkerchiefs at the bottom. The second niche held a locked wooden casket. Within lay more than 10 stacks of cash and coupons, 3 solid gold one-tail bars, and a small notebook. Lin Jiaojiao's eyes lit up. So much money? Combined, the cash alone in the 2 hiding spots totaled roughly 7,000 to 8,000 yuan. How could the Lin family possibly possess such wealth? Lin's father was merely a low-ranking clerk, and Lin's mother an ordinary factory worker. Their combined monthly salaries amounted to only several dozen yuan. After covering household expenses and social obligations, how much could they possibly save? Father Lin must have some shady side dealings. She had no illusions about his integrity. Retrieve that small notebook. Right away. Using remote object retrieval, the notebook materialized instantly in Lin Jiaojiao's hands. She flipped it open. Perfect. She had just suspected wrongdoing, and here was concrete proof. Lin's father worked in the warehouse administration department. He tampered with inventory goods by abusing his position to earn huge profit margins. And this was far from a one-off occurrence. According to the records in this notebook, there were over a dozen such incidents. Given his years of employment, there were almost certainly other unaccounted-for ledgers. Lin Jiaojiao smiled. She had previously pondered how to punish this family. Now things were simple. A report to the authorities would send him to labor re-education camp. Put the ledger back where you found it. Aren't we taking it? Not yet. I'll deal with them one by one once I sever ties with the family. Why wait? To play it safe. Once we are formally estranged, his crimes won't easily drag me down. It won't offer absolute protection, but it will spare me a great deal of trouble. It will also prevent gossip painting me as an ungrateful, heartless girl. After all, I won't be cutting ties purely because of his illegal activities. With a few yuan tucked safely in her pocket, Lin Jiaojiao headed for the state-run restaurant. By the time she arrived, mealtime had largely passed, and the venue was sparsely populated. She ordered braised pork, green vegetable soup, and a bowl of rice, costing 70 cents plus half a caddy of grain coupons. Her food arrived quickly. She sat alone at a table, eating unhurriedly. The flavor was quite decent. As she ate, she overheard quiet conversation from nearby tables. The heat is on right now. Wait a few more days, and this batch of goods will fetch an excellent price. I'm afraid our contact won't wait. They need the merchandise urgently. They are due to board a ship in roughly 1 week. What have we got to fear? If they back out, there are other dash, a hand clamped over his mouth mid-sentence. His companion glanced warily around the room before releasing him. Are you out of your mind? Keep your mouth shut. Eat your food. Lin Jiaojiao ate without showing any outward reaction. Seated 3 tables away, she aroused no suspicion. Thanks to her body purified by spiritual spring water, her senses were extraordinarily sharp. The conversation reached her ears as clearly as if the men had whispered directly beside her. Goods? What kind of goods? Clearly not legitimate business. And the buyers were boarding ships. Smuggling across the sea? Cultural relics? Since she had chanced upon this, she resolved to follow them. If these men were merely small-time traffickers peddling ordinary antiques for modest profit, she would leave them be. But if national treasures were involved, she would have to intervene. The 2 men departed. Lin Jiaojiao waited for a while before strolling casually out of the restaurant. Powerful mental perception allowed her to track them over long distances. While the pair turned deep into an alley, she lingered outside, pretending to admire the scenery. She waited until they entered a house at the alley's far end, marking their location. Spatial system, scan the building. Understood. Once more, a three-dimensional transparent blueprint materialized. It was an ordinary residence. No hidden niches, no cellars, no suspicious contraband. This was merely a place to stay. The actual goods were stored elsewhere. These men were cautious, maintaining multiple separate hiding locations. That complicated things. She could not camp outside indefinitely. Though she feared national treasures being smuggled overseas, nothing was confirmed. She could not afford to waste time chasing a false lead. Master, I can assist. How? I can place anchor marking barriers on their persons. No matter how far they travel, 24-hour surveillance will remain active. Spatial system, you are incredible. Lin Jiaojiao exclaimed delightedly. Effectively a remote monitoring device. This was incredibly convenient. Hee, thank you for the praise, Master. I have many other abilities. With the anchor surveillance in place, Lin Jiaojiao no longer needed to keep watch personally and prepared to leave. Just as she turned, thud. A figure collapsed directly in front of her and lay motionless on the ground. Was this a setup for extortion? Lin Jiaojiao froze. Mother. Another woman rushed over and knelt beside the fallen person, wailing loudly. Curious passers-by gathered. They glanced alternately at Lin Jiaojiao and the two women, whispering among themselves. Lin Jiaojiao, professional extortionists? She studied the pair. The kneeling woman was roughly 50-odd years old, neatly and practically dressed. The fallen woman had white hair. From her partially visible profile, she was quite elderly. Her eyes were shut and her lips were bluish-purple. Something was wrong. This was a genuine medical emergency. Lin Jiaojiao frowned and knelt down immediately to check her pulse. Seeing her actions, the kneeling woman, Zhao Huilan, asked in surprise, "Are you a doctor?" Yes. Though the young woman looked very youthful, her composure and calm demeanor gave Zhao Huilan no reason to interrupt. The surrounding onlookers grew uneasy. Young lady, are you sure you know what you're doing? Don't make the situation worse. She's far too young. You should get her to a hospital right away. Lin Jiaojiao ignored the crowd. She took a quick pulse check, lifted the patient's eyelid, and saw no chest movement. Sudden cardiac death, she stated clearly in a quiet but firm voice. Zhao Huilan was startled. Though unfamiliar with the exact medical term, she understood the heart was the source of the crisis. There was no time for explanations. She laid the elderly woman flat, unbuttoned her collar, interlaced her hands, positioned the heel of her palms correctly, and began chest compressions. 1, 2, 3, she counted silently. After completing a set of compressions, she leaned forward, pinched the patient's nose shut, took a deep breath, and administered mouth-to-mouth rescue breathing. The onlookers stared in shock. Why was she pressing her mouth against the patient's? Zhao Huilan, the patient's daughter-in-law, possessed some basic knowledge of this medical emergency. Instead of stopping Lin Jiaojiao, she felt immense relief that such a skilled person had appeared. Amid the crowd's astonished stares, the elderly woman let out a faint gurgling groan. She's breathing. A young man in the crowd shouted excitedly. Lin Jiaojiao felt for the carotid artery. No, that was not spontaneous respiration. Without hesitation, she resumed resuscitation. Wait, she's already gasping. Why keep going? She might wake up any moment. You could hurt her. Zhao Huilan grew anxious and was about to speak when a strong hand pressed firmly onto her shoulder. She turned to see her own stern-faced son, Gu Xiao, who had arrived without notice. He shook his head slightly. Trusting her son's judgment, Zhao Huilan held her tongue. After 3 full cycles, Lin Jiaojiao checked the pulse again. No improvement. Ventricular fibrillation persisted. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation alone was insufficient. Defibrillation was required. But the golden window for rescue lasted merely minutes. Transport to a hospital would take far too long. Everyone step back. Lin Jiaojiao ordered sharply. Confused, the onlookers complied. Gu Xiao pulled his mother backward as well. Confirming no one stood within the danger zone, Lin Jiaojiao placed her fingertips over the patient's collarbone and anterior axillary line. Silent lightning-type supernatural energy surged through the patient's heart. Bang! The patient's body jerked violently. Gasps rang out across the crowd. Lin Jiaojiao paid them no mind. She checked the pulse once more and restarted cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Another pulse check. There it was. Faint, yet unmistakable spontaneous heartbeat and breathing. She maintained contact with the pulse, carefully observing the patient's respiration. Only once stable vital signs were confirmed did she straighten up. "She's stable now." At those words, the unconscious elderly woman slowly opened her eyes. Zhao Huilan rushed forward. "Mother, how do you feel?" The elderly woman remained dazed. Lin Jiaojiao spoke to Zhao Huilan. "Your mother's condition is extremely grave. Though we pulled her back from cardiac arrest, complications remain possible. Get her to a hospital immediately." Yes, right away." Zhao Huilan attempted to lift her mother, but Lin Jiaojiao stopped her. "Carry her or have someone lift her. She cannot move under her own power." As she prepared to assist, a tall man in military uniform stepped forward. He lifted the elderly woman horizontally in his arms and walked toward a military-issue vehicle parked nearby. Blocked by his posture, Lin Jiaojiao could not see his face, but his broad, powerful back commanded attention. Seeing the patient out of immediate danger, the surrounding crowd cheered and applauded. "That young lady just saved a life. Incredible for someone so young." By the time Gu Xiao and Zhao Huilan had settled the elderly woman into the vehicle and turned to thank their savior, Lin Jiaojiao was already gone. "Where is she?" Zhao Huilan looked around anxiously. She had not even gotten a chance to express gratitude. Gu Xiao glanced in the direction Lin Jiaojiao had vanished. He recognized her as the girl he had encountered earlier that morning. She had saved his grandmother. He would remember this debt. "Let's go." The off-road vehicle raced toward the military district hospital. Inside the emergency ward, Professor Liu, over 60 years old and the elderly woman's long-term attending cardiologist, listened to Zhao Huilan's recounting and broke out in cold sweat. "Madame Gu is extraordinarily lucky." "Is it really that serious?" Zhao Huilan asked. "Serious hardly covers it." Professor Liu pointed at the ECG read, outshowing elevated ST segments. "Look here. Massive anterior wall myocardial infarction. The left anterior descending artery is almost completely blocked. Survival rates for this condition hover around 30 to 40%, and most survivors suffer the attack within hospital walls with immediate medical care. This happened out on the street. Do you understand? Once the heart stops beating, brain tissue sustains irreversible damage after 5 to 6 minutes without oxygen. Your mother received timely on-site resuscitation and suffered almost no permanent injury. You cannot imagine how fortunate you are." Both Gu Xiao and Zhao Huilan shuddered with hindsight. The young woman had truly saved the grandmother's life. Professor Liu studied the medical chart, then frowned. Zhao Huilan's heart tightened. "What is wrong?" "The patient must have experienced ventricular fibrillation." "How did that young woman achieve defibrillation?" Unable to comprehend medical terminology, the pair described the entire rescue sequence in detail. "You say after CPR, she pressed her fingers against the patient's chest, and the patient's body jolted?" Professor Liu could barely believe it. "That matches the effect of electrical defibrillation. But she had no defibrillator device. How was that accomplished?" Gu Zhao's eyes narrowed. "Could it be internal martial arts force applied with precise strikes?" Professor Liu pondered. "Defibrillation is far more than simple physical impact. Still, ancient traditional Chinese medical texts record similar curative techniques, which bear some resemblance to that idea." Gu Xiao said, "She must know traditional Chinese medicine." Professor Liu's eyes widened. Traditional Chinese medicine holds profound secrets. She may well possess some special skill. He stepped to the bedside, examined the patient, and picked up his pen to write notes. Suddenly his pen froze. He lifted his head sharply. "You said this rescuer was a young girl?" Zhao Huilan nodded eagerly. "Yes, barely a teenager. I doubted her competence at first because of her age." Professor Liu's mouth fell open in disbelief. That young? He had assumed the rescuer was an experienced older physician, not a teenage girl. He paced across the examination room, his expression a mixture of astonishment and professional excitement. "What is her name? Which hospital is she from? Or which medical institute does she attend?" Such precise diagnostic judgment and flawless emergency technique at such an age marked extraordinary talent. Zhao Huilan looked regretful. "We were so busy getting my mother treated that she left before we could thank her. We never learned her name." Professor Liu's eager expression collapsed. His potential apprentice had slipped away. "I will search the entire city if I must to find her." Gu Xiao knew exactly who the girl was. Yet he understood her complicated family circumstances. Drawing attention now would invite greedy demands from her relatives. He held his silence, intending to deliver thanks at a more suitable time in the future. Meanwhile, the 4 members of the Lin family had ridden bicycles frantically to the hospital immediately after Lin Jiaojiao left home. They had not even changed their clothes. Disheveled and covered in dirt, they stumbled into the hospital lobby, instantly drawing every eye. "Doctor, help us," Lin's mother shouted at the top of her voice. "We were assaulted. We are badly hurt. Call the Public Security Bureau." Startled nurses hurried to usher them into the emergency department. Dr. Li, in his 40s and wearing black, rimmed glasses, had been sipping tea from an enamel mug. He set it down and hurried over upon hearing the commotion. What happened? All 4 family members began crying and talking over one another the moment they entered the examination room, creating total chaos. Dr. Li maintained his patience. "Slow down. One person at a time. Let me examine you first." After completing full physical examinations, Dr. Li stood still with a peculiar look on his face. "You are all physically unharmed. No injuries whatsoever." The 4 Lins were dumbfounded. How could this be? Was the doctor blind? Had he not seen their swollen faces, blackened eyes, broken noses, and aching limbs? Lin's mother panicked. "Doctor, look again. My face is so swollen I could be disfigured." Dr. Li handed her a mirror. "See for yourself." Lin's mother stared at her reflection. Other than grime, there was no bruising or swelling at all. "But I was sure." The 4 glanced at each other and realized in horror that all their swelling and injuries had vanished. "We were hurt on the way here." Dr. Li said nothing. He examined Lin's elder brother, then Lin's father. His tone turned cool. "What exactly is going on with your family?" "We really were beaten," Lin's mother sobbed. "She slapped me repeatedly. My mouth bled, my teeth felt loose." Dr. Li set down his tongue depressor, wiped his glasses, replaced them, and studied each family member one by one. "I don't see a single mark of the injuries you claim. No bruises, no swelling, no fractures, not even a scratch on the skin." His voice was quiet, yet every word carried weight. "Are you certain you were assaulted?" "We are certain." Mother Lin's voice cracked. "That wicked girl is completely deranged. She beat us all, then tapped our bodies, and we were in agony." "Then where are your injuries?" Dr. Li countered. "If you were slapped, punched, and kicked as you described, there is no way there wouldn't be visible marks." Silence fell over the examination room for a moment. They themselves had no answer. The wounds had been plain to see when they left home, yet they vanished by the time they reached the hospital. Father Lin touched his body. Mother Lin touched her face. Eldest brother Lin rubbed his arms and legs. Shoe prints had still been visible on their clothes, but all traces of physical harm were gone. A chill crept up their spines, and the hair on their necks stood on end. Could this be something supernatural? Inside the examination room, Dr. Li slipped his fountain pen back into his pocket, his tone turning stern. "Comrades, this is a hospital for treating the sick and injured. It is not a place for frivolous pranks. We are not lying. We were knocked to the ground, suffering for hours. Yet I can find no evidence of injury upon examination," Dr. Li said calmly. "That's because Father Lin trailed off, unable to finish." Mother Lin suddenly slapped her thigh. "Doctor, could it be internal injuries? Injuries that cannot be seen from outside?" Dr. Li nearly laughed out of exasperation. "Internal injuries? What kind of internal injury can erase blackened bruises around the eyes until the skin looks perfectly normal? What internal injury makes subcutaneous hematomas disappear entirely within half an hour? Comrades, this is a hospital, not a magic show." Eldest brother Lin muttered softly. "Maybe the lights in this hospital are faulty, making it hard to see properly." Dr. Li took a deep breath. "Perhaps you should seek another department for further checks." He offered the suggestion earnestly. The psychiatric ward. The implication was clear. Did they need their sanity examined? "We are not insane." Mother Lin shrieked. "We really were attacked." Dr. Li breathed deeply, then nodded with a faint smile. "Very well. I suggest you report this to the Public Security Bureau." Silence descended. What good would reporting it do? Without any physical evidence left, what proof could they offer? The 4 left the hospital in a daze. Sunlight fell on their bodies, yet they could feel no warmth at all. When they arrived home, they spotted Lin Jiaojiao reclining on a rattan chair, resting in the shade of the courtyard. They halted in their steps, consumed by hatred and fear. Having learned their lesson, they knew they could not defeat her and dared not provoke her openly. They tiptoed across the courtyard. Seeing the broken lock on the gate, they said nothing, terrified of enraging the she-devil. Lin Jiaojiao lifted her eyelids and shot them a glance. Space, place surveillance on all 4 of them. Understood. These people would never let matters rest. More schemes were sure to follow. She would wait for them to walk straight into their own ruin. Night fell. Mother Lin prepared a lavish dinner and came to summon her with a warm smile. Lin Jiaojiao made no fuss and enjoyed the meal heartily. After dinner, Mother Lin probed cautiously. Jiaojiao, where has the money in the drawer gone? Oh, I spent it on lunch today. Lin Jiaojiao spoke casually, infuriating Mother Lin, who could only hold her anger in check. Very well, if you crave anything, just tell Mother, and I will cook it for you. Lin Jiaojiao showed no restraint and immediately placed her order. I want braised pork. The portion at the state-run restaurant today was delicious. I didn't get enough. Very well. And a fish, tender and fresh. I haven't eaten one in ages. Very well. Give me 50 yuan too. I plan to buy 2 new outfits tomorrow. Wait, why do you need new clothes? Mother Lin's temper flared, ready to snap back. But when Lin Jiaojiao glanced at her coolly, she shuddered and quickly forced on a smile. What I mean is, why buy ready-made clothing? I could sew you garments that fit far better if you bought cloth. I prefer ready-made clothes. They look nicer. Fine. Satisfied she had riled the woman enough, Lin Jiaojiao rose unhurriedly. She turned toward Father Lin. When are we going to formalize the severance of kinship? Sever our ties? Never. If they officially cut off relations, it would confirm his wrongdoings. How would he hold his head high at the factory afterward? Lin Jiaojiao was unperturbed. Take all the time you need to think about it. She closed the door behind her, leaving the 4 Lin family members seething with frustration. They could not fight her. They dared not shout at her. Their minds raced as they brainstormed ways to get back at her. The next morning, breakfast consisted merely of thin congee, pickled vegetables, and flatbread. Lin Jiaojiao slammed her chopsticks against the table. Is this fit for humans to eat? She looked toward Mother Lin. Go boil 2 eggs for me. We have no eggs left in the house. Then go buy some at once. Now, what else? Mother Lin struggled to contain herself and finally snapped. Do not push your luck too far. Lin Jiaojiao looked at her and suddenly smiled, yet the coldness in her expression sent chills down one's spine. You think this is going too far? Compared to what you did to me in the past, I have been remarkably lenient. Then came the familiar slaps and blows, followed by shrill cries of pain. Father Lin and eldest brother Lin froze in shock. Before they could react, they too were screaming in agony. Younger sister Lin trembled off to one side. Was every morning destined to be this chaotic? From that day onward, subpar cooking earned punishment. Poorly washed clothes earned punishment. If Lin Jiaojiao was in a bad mood, there would be punishment. Shrill cries of suffering echoed around the house regularly as the Lin family writhed in pain. The beatings left them questioning reality. They returned to the hospital, only to be blacklisted. They filed reports with the Public Security Bureau, yet were reprimanded for filing false police reports. They turned to the neighborhood committee and neighboring residents for help, but everyone condemned them as heartless scoundrels fabricating lies against a young girl. Naturally, a few perceptive neighbors suspected they had crossed paths with someone highly skilled, someone who knew exactly how to inflict pain without leaving evidence. Yet what could anyone do? Without proof, the authorities could make no arrests. More importantly, they had brought all this suffering upon themselves. The Lin family crumbled. In the end, they begged tearfully for her to sever all kinship ties. Once she held the officially stamped documents confirming the severance, Lin Jiaojiao placed a notice in the newspaper to publicly cut all connections with the family root and branch. The Lin family wept with joy, embracing one another. They were finally free. Lin Jiaojiao sneered. Did they truly believe this marked the end? How naive. The real retaliation was only just beginning. Back at home, eldest brother Lin could no longer contain his frustration. Now that the kinship is severed, she will have no natal family to rely on. She will struggle once she marries. But the memory of her formidable skill made him trail off awkwardly. She fought so well, she would never be bullied by her in-laws. No, she could not get off so easily. A scheme suddenly occurred to eldest brother Lin, malice glinting in his eyes. Father, mother, I have a plan. In another room, Space reported to Lin Jiaojiao. Master, eldest brother Lin intends to have you abducted and sold deep into the mountain villages. Lin Jiaojiao's gaze turned icy. This man truly seeks his own doom. Should we alert the Public Security Bureau? No. We will play along with their plot and watch what they intend to do. You plan to walk straight into their trap? If he has contacts with human traffickers, why not follow the trail to expose the whole ring? An excellent plan. But there is one matter we must settle first. What is it? Space soon found out. Night fell. Every household had turned off their lights and gone to sleep. Under cover of darkness, eldest brother Lin slipped out of the house. Space tracked his movements, confirming he would not return that night. Lin Jiaojiao retrieved a bottle of sedative. She had found it in the mountains within the space dimension. The mountains teemed with plants and medicinal herbs spontaneously growing inside the space. Some she recognized, others she did not. Without exception, they were nourished by the space's spiritual energy, granting them potent medicinal properties. The ordinary version required an entire bottle, yet only one drop of the space. Grown variety sufficed. Lin Jiaojiao extracted a single drop, atomized it, and let it drift into the rooms of the remaining family members. After waiting a short while and confirming they were all unconscious, she set to work. First, she cleared out every item in her bedroom, including the wardrobe, storing everything inside the space. Even the bed was taken, leaving only bedding spread out on the floor. Space immediately understood. Master, are you going to clear out all their belongings? Lin Jiaojiao's expression turned frigid. Precisely. Since they have shown no mercy, do not blame me for returning the favor. They plan to traffic her? Then she would strip their home bare. Afterward, she would send the entire family to undergo labor reform. Once her own room was emptied, Lin Jiaojiao moved to the kitchen. Rice, flour, oil, and grains, stored away. Sauces, salt, vinegar, and seasonings, stored away. Cured meats and sausages, stored away. Pots, pans, bowls, and dishes, stored away. Tables, chairs, and benches, stored away. Everything in the kitchen, new or worn, even the oil jug holding merely a trace of sesame oil, was taken into the space. She intended to leave them with nothing. Even if she could not use or sell these items, she would discard them rather than leave them for the family. Next came Father and Mother Lin's bedroom. She did not need to sort through each object one by one. With a sweep of her will, wardrobe, stored. Desk stored. Large bed, stored. Every visible object vanished. For hidden compartments and wall cavities, she ordered space to retrieve all contents remotely, leaving nothing behind. Again, she left only bedding spread on the ground. Not out of kindness. Though it was June, nighttime temperatures could still drop. If they fell ill, they would be unable to cooperate with the subsequent investigation, delaying their journey to labor camps. Then the bedrooms of eldest brother Lin and younger sister Lin. The same method, stripping every room bare. Only bedding remained for younger sister Lin. Eldest brother Lin was not home, so his bedding was taken as well. With all the rooms emptied, she turned to the courtyard outside. Rattan chairs, bicycles, fire pokers, scrap timber planks, all of it was stored away. Store. The courtyard was left utterly empty, desolate beneath the cold night sky. This was not all. Using her left hand, she imitated another person's handwriting to draft 3 anonymous tip-off letters. Master, why write 3 separate letters? What if one of the recipients is colluding with the culprits? Sending 3 ensures greater safety. She changed into dark clothing and adjusted her appearance to obscure her gender. She activated her mental abilities to cast a subtle illusion, blurring her features and frame so anyone who spotted her would retain only a vague impression. Masked, she slipped out of the courtyard and vanished into the darkness. Master, you only have 1 set of evidence. Which recipient will receive it? Tear the documents apart. Distribute fragments to each party. Space fell silent. Lin Jiaojiao moved swiftly, evading security personnel. She slipped quietly into the factory director's office and left the account books alongside 1 tip-off letter on his desk, ensuring they would be discovered first thing in the morning. She then proceeded to the office of the Revolutionary Committee Director. After placing the materials, Space spoke. Master, would you like to acquire official introduction letters? She wanted them, more than anything. In this era, travel required official introduction letters. Without one, movement was nearly impossible. Few people would turn such an opportunity down. Lin Jiaojiao paused. Can you obtain them? Space chuckled. Look next door. Lin Jiaojiao glanced toward the adjacent room, an open, planned shared office. Confusion flickered across her face before a thought dawned on her. Introduction letters and official seals were kept by the administrative clerk. This room housed the administrative staff. A glint of excitement appeared in Lin Jiaojiao's eyes. She had come this far. It would be foolish not to seize the chance to get introduction letters. A faint smile tugged at her lips. Space. Activate full perspective scanning. On it. In an instant, every item inside the office unfolded clearly before her eyes. She scanned the room. Inside a locked metal filing cabinet lay stacks of documents, among them introduction letters, blank forms stamped with official seals. Lin Jiaojiao's eyes lit up. Yet she frowned shortly afterward. This would not do. The clerk in charge would keep count of sealed letters. Removing a small number might go unnoticed, but a larger theft would immediately be detected. She continued studying the contents of the cabinet and spotted an unopened stack of blank introduction letter booklets at the bottom. Lin Jiaojiao wasted no time. She remotely retrieved 2 booklets, then found the official seal inside a drawer. Worried that handling the seal would create noise, she stepped into the space dimension. She dipped the seal into ink and stamped each blank introduction letter rapidly. After some time, she finished stamping all pages across both booklets. Congratulations, Master. The introduction letters are secured. Lin Jiaojiao beamed. The same to you. We will enjoy far greater freedom to act from now on. This was the greatest gain of the night, an unexpected windfall. Stepping out of the space, she returned the seal and ink pad exactly where they had been. She also took 2 thick stacks of blank white paper from the office. Master, what do you need all this blank paper for? As she slid the original covers back onto the booklets, Lin Jiaojiao explained. If an entire booklet of introduction letters goes missing, even unopened ones, the clerk will face punishment, disciplinary demerits at minimum, reassignment, and public criticism at worst. The consequences are severe. Space instantly understood. You do not wish to drag an innocent person into trouble. What is your plan? Lin Jiaojiao looked at the convincingly modified booklets. Stage the scene to look like a burglar broke in. That way, blame will not fall on the clerk. Space thought for a moment. If you frame it as a burglary, the security staff will still be held accountable, will they not? Lin Jiaojiao smiled. You consider every detail. We will act as thieves, but deliberately let security spot us. Then we will let the stolen introduction letters be accidentally destroyed right before their eyes. Even if security catches sight of you in time, failing to apprehend the burglar remains a failure. They will still face repercussions. True, yet the punishment will be light, at most deduction of bonuses. We can secretly compensate them for the lost funds. Lin Jiaojiao did not fully grasp the bureaucratic accountability rules of this era, yet memories from the original host provided context. The factory had suffered thefts previously, and staff only faced bonus deductions, so she followed that precedent. Events unfolded exactly as she planned. Leaders were alerted, yet since the stolen introduction letters were destroyed and could not be misused, punishments remained mild. No bonuses were deducted, the staff only received verbal reprimands. Even so, Lin Jiaojiao instructed Space to leave money as compensation for each member of security. With this task complete, dawn drew near. Lin Jiaojiao hurried to the Public Security Bureau to deliver the final tip-off letter, concluding her night's operations. She returned home, entered the space to wash up, and slept soundly. Early the next morning. Aya! A deafening wail drew the attention of every neighbor nearby. What trouble had the Lin family gotten into now? They screamed and quarreled constantly. Everyone dropped what they were doing and rushed over to watch the commotion. A robbery. Thieves have stolen everything in her home. Mother Lin stumbled out of her room with disheveled hair. When she saw the empty main hall and kitchen, she let out another shriek. Everything is gone. Those damn thieves have stripped our house bare. Father Lin appeared ashen-faced, staggering as he sank to the ground, muttering repeatedly. It's all over, everything is ruined. Younger sister Lin ran out barefoot, crying hysterically. My savings, my floral dress, everything is gone. The neighboring residents exchanged confused glances. No one had heard any commotion overnight, and no other homes had been robbed. Why only the Lin household, and to such an extreme degree? One neighbor asked. Old Mrs. Lin, what exactly was stolen? You should report this to the Public Security Bureau at once. That's right. It looks like you suffered heavy losses. Start taking inventory. Mother Lin dropped onto the ground and began wailing, slapping her thighs. Those vicious thieves took all our cash, ration coupons, wardrobes, desks. Even pots and pans are gone, not a single one left. Shock rippled through the onlookers. Stripped completely bare? They craned their necks to peer inside. Sure enough, the room stood empty, not even a bed remaining. Lin Jiaojiao pushed open her door and met all those staring eyes. Someone turned to her. Jiao girl, was your room robbed too? They craned their neck to peer inside her quarters. Lin Jiaojiao swung the door wide for everyone to see. Yes, mine was robbed as well. It hardly matters though, I never owned much to begin with. The crowd did not know whether to pity her. Lin Jiaojiao. Upon seeing her, Mother Lin flew into a rage and lunged forward. You stole our things. It was you. Lin Jiaojiao stepped aside to dodge her. We were all inside the house last night. Why immediately suspect me? If not you, then who? How should I know? Perhaps eldest brother lost money gambling and colluded with outsiders to sell off the family property to repay his debts. Fallen silence followed. Come to think of it, something similar had happened before. Doubt crept over Mother Lin. Could her eldest son truly be responsible? Father Lin feared his illegal account books would be exposed and dared not file an official police report. Mother Lin suspected her own son and also hesitated to contact authorities. Despite all their shouting, neither dared push for an investigation. Grumbling, they retreated into the house. The onlookers quickly caught on. Clearly, there was more to this incident than met the eye. Lin Jiaojiao struggled to hold back laughter. The pair had suffered a bitter loss they could never voice, and their frustration must be unbearable. And yet, she tilted her head to look up at the sky, then spoke solemnly out of the blue. Dawn has broken. The Lin family will go bankrupt. Sure enough. Before 9 o'clock arrived, the factory leaders arrived with a large group of people and took Father and Mother Lin away directly. Lin Xiaomei broke down crying in terror. Everything in the house had been ransacked, and now even her parents were taken away. Sis, what are we going to? Suit yourself. Lin Jiaojiao could not be bothered with her. She tossed out the line and walked straight out the door. The Educated Youth Office. Quite a crowd had already gathered in the courtyard. Word spread that the list of educated youths for this batch had been finalized, and they would depart in July. No wonder the place was packed early in the morning. Some came to inquire about news, others tried to pull strings, doing everything they could to strike their children off the roster. Voices chattered nonstop. When Lin Jiaojiao stepped inside, everyone assumed she was another person here to make a fuss. They glanced at her briefly before turning back to their own business. Then, I want to sign up to go work in the countryside. Everyone froze in shock. In these times, who would volunteer to be sent down? Director Zheng's head throbbed from all the noise. He thought he was hearing things, then lifted his head to look. Huh? Wasn't that the Lin family girl? The commotion she caused that early morning was still the talk of the whole neighborhood. Word was she'd cut ties with her family. Was she planning to head to the countryside to get away from them for good? Seeing Director Zhang clearly recognized her, Lin Jiaojiao lowered her voice. Can we speak privately? Director Zhang caught on immediately. He stood up, grabbed a registration form, and led her further inside. Come with me to complete the paperwork. They entered the inner office. Director Zhang, I heard Aunt Wang mention your nephew is looking for work. I wonder if you still need an opportunity. Before she could finish speaking, Director Zhang cut in excitedly. We do. Desperately. If his nephew failed to land a job soon, he would have to be sent to the countryside. How could he refuse such a chance? It was not only him. Nearly every household was scrambling to find employment these days. Still, are you certain you want to go to the countryside? Director Zhang urged her sincerely. I know you're a capable girl, but this is no trivial matter. You'll have to farm and earn work points. It is far less comfortable than a city job. When he saw she was dead set on leaving for the countryside, he stopped trying to dissuade her and took her along with his nephew to the factory to sort out formalities. The job that originally belonged to the original host had actually been secured by Mother Lin for Lin Xiaomei. The original host was only meant to hold the position temporarily until Lin Xiaomei graduated to take over. Now that Lin Jiaojiao was in charge of this body, there was no way she would let that happen. Not a chance. It was a post at an ordinary small factory. In the end, Director Zhang paid her 300 yuan plus various ration coupons. The price was fair and both sides were satisfied. It was already noon by the time they returned to the Educated Youth Office, and the crowd had dispersed. Director Zhang registered her application. Do you have any place in mind? I have the authority to let you pick wherever you want. Smart man. Lin Jiaojiao did not beat around the bush and chose to be sent to a village in northeast China. Director Zhang frowned. Girl, winters there are brutally cold, even harsher than here in the capital. Can you endure it? There was no need to hide her intentions from a sharp man like him, so she told him the truth. I've heard they only plant one crop a year there. People can stay indoors through the long winter, with half the year free from farm labor. Director Zhang let out a laugh. The girl was refreshingly honest, and he was happy to elaborate. While winters do offer more downtime, work still comes up occasionally. Some villages need people to make handicrafts, others build bridges, repair roads, or dig irrigation channels. Lin Jiaojiao's mouth fell open in surprise. She truly had not known. Going to the northeast as an educated youth would not be as easy as she imagined. Do you want to pick another location? Lin Jiaojiao shook her head. No, the northeast will do. Find a village bordering deep mountain forests. Work hard? That was never going to happen. After lifetimes of life, or death struggles, all she wanted in this life was to take it easy and slack off. Director Zhang oversaw these assignments. While he could not know every village in detail, it was simple for him to select several production brigades with kind villagers and relatively light workloads based on past feedback. Lin Jiaojiao's eyes landed on Black Wind Brigade at once. No particular reason. The name carried a wild, untamed aura reminiscent of an old bandit hideout. It suited her perfectly. Then Lin Jiaojiao shifted the topic. Uncle, my sister is also very eager to contribute. She wants to sign up to go to the vast northwest. When she walked out of the educated youth office, Lin Jiaojiao was in high spirits, clutching 30 yuan in relocation allowance and special ration coupons for educated youths. These vouchers were exclusive to youths sent to the countryside, allowing them to purchase certain supplies at reduced cost. The space sounded discontented inside her mind. Only 30 yuan? In other novels I've seen, protagonists get 100 or 200 as settlement funds. Lin Jiaojiao shrugged. It makes no difference. We have plenty of money right now. The over 8,000 yuan cash we seized from the Lin family is enough for us to eat meat every day for a decade. Once we reach the northeast, we can dig wild ginseng to sell for another large sum. That will guarantee I live comfortably for the rest of my life, free to laze around. Master, did you decide to go to the countryside just to dig wild ginseng for money? Of course not. It was noon, and there was no one home to cook. Lin Jiaojiao headed straight for the state-run restaurant. She explained as she walked. If I stay in the city without a job yet always have plenty to eat, people will immediately suspect something is off. But once I'm sent to the countryside, everyone will be strangers. Even if I spend freely, others will simply assume I come from a wealthy family. It's far safer. The space agreed. That's true. Cities are packed with prying eyes and strict oversight. The countryside is much easier to blend into. Before long, she reached the state-run restaurant. She ordered a serving of pork dumplings, less than 20 pieces, for 40 cents. They tasted wonderful. After finishing her meal, she planned to pack extra food to store inside the space, ready to eat whenever she pleased without cooking herself, pure convenience. But there was a problem. No takeout containers were available. In this era, only dry food like steamed buns could be wrapped in oiled paper. To carry cooked dishes, you had to bring your own lunchboxes. She had rummaged through the Lin family kitchen the night before, yet usable containers were scarce. She could hardly walk out carrying plates. She had no choice but to abandon the idea for now. Leaving the restaurant, she turned into an empty alleyway and slipped into her space. The tiny golden light sphere immediately floated over. Master, let's tally up all the loot we collected last night. The space clearly loved sorting and organizing things, bouncing excitedly before her to urge her on. She had fallen asleep as soon as she returned the previous night and had not yet inspected everything, unsure whether more valuables remained hidden inside the cabinets. All right, let's take stock. Everything seized from the Lin family was piled in the courtyard. With the space helping her, the work went much faster. Truth be told, the Lin family owned an astonishing number of treasures. Hidden inside Father Lin's desk was a wooden casket holding another 10,000 yuan in cash. Lin Jiaojiao was utterly stunned. Where had such a vast sum come from? Why was it not concealed in a more secret hidden compartment? Had he taken it out recently, planning to move it elsewhere before he got the chance? The space sounded frustrated. When you searched the drawers that day, I forgot to scan the desk. Let me scan it again now. Once the scan completed, both of them were shocked once more. Countless gold bars were concealed within the desk. Good heavens. To put it plainly, the desk might as well have been built from solid gold. The three side panels were hollow, filled with gold bars of varying sizes. Had the Lin family stumbled upon a gold mine? After careful counting, there were 100 large gold bars and 20 smaller ones, weighing at least 50 to 60 jin in total. Lin Jiaojiao did not know the market price for gold in this era, and the original host held no relevant memories. Regardless, this represented an astronomical fortune. Master, so much gold. We're rich, haha. Calm down. It's just some gold bars. Don't look so inexperienced. The space thought silently. Sure, keep pretending. I'd believe you if your eyes weren't shining and you weren't swallowing hard. 2 wristwatches were also found in the drawers, the ones the couple wore daily. They were imported Titoni watches, said to have cost 300 yuan each when bought. 300 apiece. 600 total. Even sold secondhand, the 2 watches could fetch at least 400 yuan. They were truly wealthy. Yet the couple was incredibly bold. Without powerful connections or status, they dared to wear such eye-catching luxury watches. Were they not afraid of drawing unwanted attention? Lin Jiaojiao could not understand their logic. Still, she accepted the gift graciously. All of it belonged to her now, haha. She took the desk apart completely, leaving nothing but scrap lumber. It was not worth selling, so she decided to keep the wood to burn for fuel once she moved to the countryside. Next came the wardrobe. It had already been scanned, with no hidden cavities to hide valuables. Even so, it held plenty of fine goods. Mother Lin clearly had refined taste and was willing to spend money freely. Nearly all her clothes were tailored suits, fashionable garments for the times. There were also uncut bolts of fabric, the most expensive and highest quality varieties available. Locked away at the bottom were stacks of high-grade cigarettes and alcohol, obvious gifts exchanged through social connections. Each worth a fair amount. Beyond the wardrobe stood a sewing machine, radio, electric fan, bicycle. Wow! Even many senior cadres' households might not own such a complete set of belongings. Father Lin was merely a low-ranking clerk. He was truly daring. Thank you for the generous gifts. It took more than an hour for the 2 of them to finish sorting everything. Their gains were staggering. Lin Jiaojiao was now a wealthy woman, walking with a spring in her step. Master, we should sell all these used goods. They can bring in quite a bit of money. The small steward enthusiastically laid out plans, and Lin Jiaojiao readily agreed. Let's go find out where we can sell second-hand goods. After asking around, they learned the black market was the best place to offload these items. Fortunately, there was one not far away. Twisting and turning deep through alleyways, they spotted lookouts posted to watch for trouble. Lin Jiaojiao disguised herself, looking like a short young man with her face covered as she slipped into the black market. There were not many people at this hour. Vendors dared not call out loudly. They sat on the ground with their wares spread out before them. Some sold eggs, vegetables, sugar, rice, and flour and other food supplies. Others offered clothing, cloth, daily necessities, and furniture. The selection was quite diverse. Yet most goods were small quantities, easy to flee with if officials showed up. Anyone wanting to make large purchases had to arrange separate transactions. Lin Jiaojiao wandered the market and spotted a man clutching a stack of cash, whispering with another buyer before the pair headed toward a more secluded area. She considered following them, but someone blocked her path all of a sudden. What business do you have here, brother? A young man halted her, his gaze sharp and suspicious as he sized her up. She understood. The black market was organized. There were sentries and patrols. This man must have taken her for a suspicious outsider. Lin Jiaojiao put on a cautious expression, glanced left and right, then leaned closer and whispered, "Are you buying goods?" The young man blinked, surprised that this newcomer was looking to sell. "What kind of goods?" "Unwanted second-hand items from my household, everything from food and clothing to daily supplies. We even have large items like bicycles and watches, all premium branded goods." The young man immediately perked up and led her aside. "Do you have samples to show?" "I do." Lin Jiaojiao pretended to reach into her pocket, but in truth pulled a watch out from the space. "Take a look. It's a Titoni watch, originally bought for 300 yuan, still about 80% new." The young man confirmed it was genuine Titoni and trusted her words. "Follow me." They left the alley and arrived at a quiet courtyard nearby. "Chang'e, we've got high-value merchandise." 4 or 5 men inside the room were playing cards. They tossed their cards aside at the sound of voices. "What for you got?" Lin Jiaojiao stepped forward and handed over the watch. "I have a large stock of goods, including sewing machines, bicycles, and other large furniture. I want to sell everything all at once." Chang'e took the watch. The dial was clean, the brand mark clear. He tilted it toward the light and saw no obvious scratches. He held it to his ear to listen to its ticking and nodded. "Good condition, never disassembled or repaired." "Where are the goods?" Not far from here. On her way over, Lin Jiaojiao had asked the space to locate a hidden spot and moved all the goods out of the space in advance. When she led the group there, piles of goods lay concealed inside an abandoned, collapsed courtyard. Chang Ge and his men began inspecting the merchandise. The more they looked, the more astonished they grew. Where on earth had this young man gotten so many fine goods? The selection was immense, covering nearly every household item. All brand, name products. Had he looted some high-ranking official's home? After a long session of inventorying, they compiled a lengthy list. Lin Jiaojiao skimmed through it briefly. 2 watches, 380 yuan. 2 bicycles, 220 yuan. 3 electric fans, 130 yuan. 1 sewing machine, 100 yuan. 1 radio, 30 yuan. 3 wardrobes, 100 yuan. 3 solid wood beds, 75 yuan. She skipped over the rest of the list. Rough estimates, small furniture and odds and ends, roughly 100 yuan. Clothing and bedding, over 700 yuan. Pots, pans, and miscellaneous items, 100 yuan. Total, around 2,000 yuan. Chang Ge straightened up, mentally tallying the numbers before speaking. Your goods are all in good shape. The total comes to just over 1,900. I'll round it up and give you 2,000 yuan flat. Lin Jiaojiao was unfamiliar with market rates, yet this offer far exceeded her expectations. She agreed without hesitation. Deal, that price works. Several men stayed behind to guard the goods, while Chang Ge took Lin Jiaojiao back to collect the payment. Brother, if you come across more high-quality goods like this in the future, no matter what they are, bring them straight to me. I'll always offer fair prices. Lin Jiaojiao replied readily. Sure, I'll come to you again if I have more stock. Good. Chang Ge returned inside and fetched stacks of banknotes, handing them over. Count it. Lin Jiaojiao counted the money, the amount matched perfectly. It seemed Chang Ge ran his business honestly and had no intention of cheating a newcomer. She took the chance to ask a question. Chang Ge, can you help me source some things? What could the black market not provide? The fact she needed to ask for special arrangements meant it was nothing ordinary. Chang Ge grew wary. Tell me first, what are you looking for? Livestock. Chickens and ducks? Larger animals, cattle, sheep, pigs. Chang Ji's eyes widened. This young man did not speak until he was ready, and when he did, he asked for items that carried heavy risk. That's not easy to get hold of. Aren't you worried about the consequences? Lin Jiaojiao smiled openly. I trust you, Chang Ge. Do you have any connections? Chang Ge pondered for a moment. Very well, I'll keep an eye out for you. Also, can you find imported disposable feminine hygiene pads? What's that? Lin Jiaojiao suddenly realized they were not called sanitary pads in this era. She knew domestic versions did not exist yet, though imported foreign goods of this kind were available at friendship stores. Still, she was unsure what locals called them. Disposable menstrual pads for women, imported foreign products meant for single use. After her explanation, Chang Ge caught on at once. Oh, I know what you mean. Folks here call them white disposable pads. He did not grow suspicious. After all, a young man would naturally be unfamiliar with women's supplies, especially imported foreign goods most people had never heard of. Brother, you've come to the right person. I do have connections. Are you sure you want them? Lin Jiaojiao's eyes lit up. Yes, absolutely. How many do you need? I'll take whatever you can get. Chang Ge fell silent. Did this young man understand how expensive these items were? This batch is smuggled in. 10 yuan per pack. It does not come cheap. Are you certain you want a large quantity? Lin Jiaojiao nodded firmly. These goods rarely appeared on the black market. If she missed this chance, she might not find them again easily. Seeing she was not joking, Chang Ge wasted no time. Very well. Come back here the day after tomorrow. I will try to secure as many as I can. Smugglers and traders fought over every batch of rare goods, and how much he could obtain depended on luck and bargaining power. Lin Jiaojiao understood the rules. Without waiting for him to prompt her, she handed over 1,000 yuan as a deposit. Brother, money is no object for me. I want the entire batch, buy all of them. Chang Ji's mouth twitched. He had met bold buyers before, but never someone this extravagant. She listed more supplies she required: cotton, seeds, lunchboxes, clothing, grain, non-staple food, milk powder, malted milk extract. All kinds of canned goods, young chicks, and livestock. She even asked Chang Ge to look into channels for firearms and ammunition. Chang Ge could only think, this young man dares to ask for anything. She racked her brain, unable to think of anything else she needed. As for ration coupons, she had no shortage at all. Coupons seized from the Lin family, those obtained from selling her factory job. Plus the special ration vouchers from the Educated Youth Office were more than enough. Still, she exchanged extra industrial coupons, planning to buy more lunchboxes to take food away from restaurants. Her cooking skills were mediocre, and preparing meals herself was troublesome. With the space to preserve food, why not make the most of it? It was past 4 in the afternoon when she left the black market. She had originally planned to go shopping for supplies to prepare for her departure to the countryside. But it was too late. She scrapped the plan and wandered nearby instead, soaking in the unique sights of the 1970s. By the time she finished dinner, night had fallen. She strolled slowly home. The moment she stepped through the door, she saw elder brother Lin pacing anxiously, muttering curses under his breath and glancing toward the doorway repeatedly. The moment Lin Jiaojiao came into view, brother Lin instantly put on a smile. "Jiaojiao, you're back." He strode forward, his tone unnaturally warm, reaching out to pat her shoulder. Lin Jiaojiao sidestepped to avoid him. Brother Lin's smile froze, his face twitching a few times before he quickly composed himself again. "Second sister, after all, we're family. Blood runs thicker than water. Now that mom and dad are gone, as the eldest brother, I ought to look after you two sisters." Lin Jiaojiao looked at him. "And what do you want?" Brother Lin nearly lost his smile. He took a deep breath and forced a sheepish grin. "I was wrong earlier. Dinner's ready. Let's eat together." "I've already eaten. I'm not hungry." Lin Jiaojiao's voice was cold as she turned to head back to her room. Brother Lin hurried to block her path, urgency creeping into his voice. "Jiaojiao, don't stand on ceremony with me. I simmered this chicken soup all afternoon. It's very nourishing. Have a taste. Give your elder brother a chance to make amends." Lin Jiaojiao shot him a glance, her expression carrying a hint of condescension, and spoke slowly. "Very well. Since you've begged so sincerely, I shall graciously do the honor and take a sip." Rage surged in brother Lin's chest, yet he could not lash out. He had to hold it in. "All right, I'll serve you a bowl." The chicken soup smelled wonderful, but a faint, distinctive odor of sedative lingered within the aroma. Others might not detect it, but it could not escape Lin Jiaojiao, trained in traditional Chinese medicine. Lin Jiaojiao sneered inwardly. She calmly accepted the bowl, lifted her head and pretended to drink, pouring all the soup into her spatial storage. "How is it? Does it taste good?" Brother Lin watched her reaction closely, eagerness shining in his eyes. "It's passable. I'm worn out and feeling a little dizzy. I'm going back to my room to rest." Lin Jiaojiao yawned as she spoke. Believing his scheme had succeeded, brother Lin's smile grew far more genuine. "Yes, you must be exhausted. Hurry off to bed. Your elder brother will stay here tonight, so you have nothing to worry about." Once back in her room, Lin Jiaojiao lay on the bed, her eyes shut tight, her breathing steady, looking exactly as if she had fallen asleep. Brother Lin waited outside. He waited anxiously for more than half an hour. Then he crept up to her door and called softly, "Jiaojiao, are you asleep?" There was no response from inside. Joy flared in brother Lin's heart. He pushed the door open quietly, walked over to the bed, and tapped her cheek. She did not stir. It worked. Brother Lin quickly fetched a sack he had prepared in advance, stuffed her inside, tied the opening tightly, carried it onto a wooden handcart, and began pushing it away. "Master, brother Lin has prepared everything thoroughly." Lin Jiaojiao agreed. She had initially worried about how he would move her once she was trapped in the sack. Would he carry her on his back? Hoist her over his shoulder? Drag her along? Any of those methods would leave her jostled uncomfortably, and she feared she might end up nauseous from the rough movement. This handcart was perfect. She was surprisingly comfortable lying inside. She ought to thank brother Lin for his thoughtful service. Brother Lin pushed the handcart, covering the sack with a layer of straw mats. When he met neighbors along the road, he greeted them casually, without a trace of guilt or unease. Moonlight was faint. He traveled farther and farther from populated areas. Curled inside the sack, Lin Jiaojiao clearly noticed human voices fading away. Night wind rustled the tree leaves, carrying the scent of soil and wild grass. Roughly an hour later, brother Lin halted, and the handcart stopped with him. He gasped for breath and whispered, "Brother Wang? I've brought her." In the darkness came the rustle of shoes brushing against grass, and a man stepped forward. "Open it and let me see." Brother Lin quickly untied the sack opening, speaking with a fawning smile. Brother Wang, this girl is beautiful. She's still unconscious. There won't be any trouble. What about the money and vouchers we agreed on? Don't be impatient. The man sounded annoyed. I need to check her first. Once I confirm everything is fine, you'll get your money and vouchers. Lin Jiaojiao remained motionless. The man pinched her cheek and turned her head from side to side. She has a nice face, just a bit too thin. After confirming she remained unconscious, he nodded in satisfaction. Very well, she's acceptable. Here is your payment. The man pulled out a roll of cash and vouchers from his coat. Brother Lin took it, wetting his fingertips with saliva to count quickly, tucked it happily into his trousers, and hurried off. Though she appeared unconscious, Lin Jiaojiao's mind raced. Spatial storage, collect that money. I would have taken it without you telling me. That's your ransom money. We can't let outsiders get away with it. Brother Wang retied the sack tightly, moved it onto his ox cart, and headed for another destination deep into the night. Another hour passed. The ox cart stopped outside an abandoned courtyard on the outskirts of town. A rhythmic pattern of knocks echoed through the silent wilderness, sounding eerie amid the empty surroundings. A long time passed. Long enough that any ordinary person would assume no one was inside and leave. Then a low, hoarse voice spoke from within. Who's there? Brother Wang replied quietly, using the same tone. Just finished eating, out for a walk to aid digestion. The secret signal was correct. The gate creaked open a crack. A face peered out and, upon recognizing Brother Wang, the door swung fully open. Brother Wang immediately steered the ox cart inside. The man glanced warily in all directions before shutting the gate again. The courtyard was quiet, yet it was clearly not empty. From the moment she entered, Lin Jiaojiao sensed shifts in the atmosphere. At least 7 or 8 people were scattered throughout the compound, hidden in plain sight. This was an organized, well-divided criminal den. The ox cart came to a stop in the yard. Someone stepped forward, lifted the sack, and carried it toward the main building. Brother Wang followed closely behind. An oil lamp burned dimly inside the room, casting murky light. The man untied the sack, revealing Lin Jiaojiao curled over with her head tilted, still and seemingly unconscious. Where did you get this cargo? The man questioned Brother Wang. We play cards together regularly, so we're on familiar terms. This is his own younger sister. She has no powerful connections, so her background is reliable. The man nodded, then pinched Lin Jiaojiao's face to examine her again. Good looks, just too thin. Brotherly, rest assured. This girl can work, and she's easy to manage. Feed her up and she'll fill out. She'll fetch a good price in the mountain regions. Very well. Take your money and leave quickly. Thank you, Brotherly. Brother Wang took the payment and drove the ox cart away from the courtyard. Lin Jiaojiao ordered her spatial storage to mark Brother Wang and track his route. Brotherly fetched rope, bound Lin Jiaojiao's hands and feet, then lifted her over his shoulder and headed toward the cellar. New arrival? The cellar guard asked as he unlocked the door, holding up a kerosene lamp to light the way. Yeah, just delivered. The man carried her into the cellar. A thick, damp, stale stench washed over them. He tossed her roughly onto a pile of straw and stepped back out. The heavy cellar door slammed shut once more. Lin Jiaojiao slowly opened her eyes. In the darkness, she could clearly see 6 other captives across from her. 5 young women. 1 boy of about 6 or 7 years old. All of them had their limbs bound. One woman had a rag stuffed in her mouth, muffled whimpers escaping her as she struggled violently, whether weeping or cursing. The others either lay motionless, exhausted, or leaned against the walls, shedding tears of despair. Lin Jiaojiao remained cautious. She had endured endless treachery and cruel schemes in the apocalypse, so she could not afford to let her guard down. She had to watch for anyone pretending to be another victim, planted among the captives. She observed quietly. Spatial storage, run a full scan. On it, a complete layout of the courtyard unfolded before her mind. 2 men guarded the cellar entrance. 8 men patrolled different corners of the yard, keeping watch through the night. 4 more men rested in side rooms. She spotted a pistol tucked beneath one man's pillow. He must be the ringleader. Master, it's a handgun. Let's grab it right away. The spatial storage entity grew excited. In this ordinary world, few things were as powerful as a handgun. It was ultimate leverage, the source of unbridled confidence. Ha ha, Lin Jiaojiao was tempted too. It was only natural. One of them was born from a cultivation realm, hardwired for combat. and the other had survived the apocalypse, perpetually craving safety. The moment they spotted the gun, both were eager. Especially since it belonged to these villains, it would be a waste not to take it. Wait for now. If we teleport it away right now, the pillow will sink. An alert man would wake instantly. We need to gather more information first. She was confident in her own abilities. But there were other abducted women and children trapped in the cellar. Without a solid plan, she risked endangering the innocent. Master, new information. The two men you asked me to monitor after our encounter at the state-run restaurant are on the move at last. Lin Jiaojiao's focus sharpened. Could they be connected to this place? She had kept them under surveillance after that meeting, and they had behaved normally, without suspicious activity ever since. She never expected them to act and strike at this very location. They're riding bicycles, heading toward the outskirts. Their route leads straight here. Lin Jiaojiao sneered. Excellent. Since they've come, none of them will escape. She finally understood what they meant by cargo. Human beings. Pure monsters. She had once thought they traded cultural relics. With the loose attitudes toward antique dealings she knew would exist in future years. She would not have interfered if they only trafficked ordinary antiques. She never imagined these villains trafficked people. How long until they arrive? Approximately 30 minutes. That gives us plenty of time. Lin Jiaojiao prepared to act, but the sound of a lock turning at the cellar door reached her ears. She quickly closed her eyes again. The door swung open. Two men carried a kerosene lamp and stepped inside quietly, closing the door behind them. Matsi, are we really allowed to come down here? One man asked nervously. What's there to fear? This girl is meant to be transported far away soon. Before she leaves, we can have our turn with her. The boss won't care. Why not? I'll tell you the truth. The girls sold to mountain villages fetch higher prices if untouched, so we can't touch those. But this one. Matsi licked his lips. Someone put in a special order for her. She's to be shipped overseas, and no one cares what happens to her. The other man looked shocked. Did this girl offend someone? They ordered her abduction and want her sent all the way abroad. Powerful people always have enemies. But we need to hurry. The boss said higher-ups are coming tonight specifically to collect this girl. Higher-ups? Right. Our superiors, people with more authority than the boss. The two men whispered as they walked forward. They lifted the lamp to peer around, then grabbed the woman with the rag in her mouth. No wonder she's the daughter of an official. Her skin is so fair. The woman struggled violently, making muffled noises. She did not weep, but stared at them with blazing, furious eyes. Feisty, aren't you? I like that. Matsi dragged her into his grasp and pulled the struggling woman toward a small side compartment. Muffled sounds of fierce struggle soon drifted out of the compartment, mixed with the men's ugly, mocking laughter. Lin Jiaojiao's eyes flew open, filled with killing intent. These people, they deserve to die. She tensed her hands, and the ropes binding her snapped apart. She stood to her feet. The other women, awakened by the noise, stared at her in shock and fear by the faint glow of the kerosene lamp. She pressed a finger to her lips, signaling them to stay silent. The women nodded in unison. Good. They understood. Lin Jiaojiao stepped silently toward the side compartment. She crept up behind one man and struck the base of his neck with a sharp hand chop, knocking him unconscious to the ground. The second man was still focused on restraining the woman and did not hear anything. Yet, he caught sight of his partner collapsing out of the corner of his eye. He turned in confusion, but before he could make sense of what he saw, a sharp pain shot through his neck, and darkness swallowed him. The woman stared in stunned disbelief. Before she could react, Lin Jiaojiao knelt and untied her restraints. Don't make a sound. The woman nodded blankly. Together, they freed the remaining captive women. Emotion overwhelmed them, and several began to cry. Lin Jiaojiao quickly hushed them. Stay quiet. There are 12 more men outside. I will deal with them. Tie these two men up and remain hidden here. I will come for you once everything is over. Do you understand? Why, yes, we understand. Their voices trembled with fear, yet they forced themselves to calm down. Please be careful. Lin Jiaojiao smiled faintly. Don't worry. I will be fine. Before leaving, she worried they might not bind the captives tightly enough, so she secured the two unconscious men personally. She ordered her spatial storage to activate a barrier domain. No one inside could leave, and no one outside could enter. It would shield the hostages, letting her fight without distraction. She pushed open the cellar door and immediately commanded, spatial storage, retrieve the handgun. I've been waiting for that order. The spatial storage entity cheered and instantly pulled the pistol into storage. Master, it's secured. That man is sleeping soundly. He didn't notice a thing, haha. Perfect. Without their firearm, these men posed little threat. Beside a Tier 10 dual-element ability wielder, they were nothing more than weaklings. Naturally, she would not reveal her powers. Her 10 years of combat experience in the apocalypse, paired with a physique tempered by spiritual spring water, were more than enough to handle the 12 men. She shifted her weight, moving with ghostly, elusive steps, silently neutralizing the patrolling guards one after another. One in the east, one in the north, two in the west. She was about to move to her next target when the scanning map revealed a large group of disciplined figures quietly surrounding the courtyard. Dropping low into the grass and holding still. An official raid. Public security? Military? It made no difference. They were on her side. She would leave the remaining men for them to apprehend. She halted, considering how to coordinate, when she spotted a masked figure creeping along the courtyard wall. Heading toward where she stood, Lin Jiaojiu moved closer instinctively. The stranger possessed extraordinary hearing. His footsteps froze instantly, and he quickly changed direction. Clearly detecting noise and attempting to circle away. Lin Jiaojiao was impressed. This scout was highly skilled. She had barely shifted, barely made a whisper of sound. Yet he pinpointed her location and reacted instantly. His awareness and reflexes were remarkable. But she had been waiting for him. She could not let him slip away. Judging his next path of movement, she asked her spatial storage to teleport her forward. The moment the man climbed onto the wall, he came face to face with Lin Jiaojiao's smile. He froze completely. Fearing he would mistake her for an enemy, Lin Jiaojiao held a finger to her lips to signal silence, then gestured toward the unconscious men on the ground to show she was not aligned with the criminals. The scout glanced from Lin Jiaojiao to the fallen men. He did not know how to process the scene. Lin Jiaojiu paid no mind to his confusion. She stepped beneath the wall and spoke to him in a low voice. There are 14 men in total. I have neutralized 6, 8 remain. Their positions are. After she finished reporting, the man atop the wall asked quietly, "Where are the abducted people?" Lin Jiaojiao paused for a heartbeat. His voice was deep and resonant, strangely captivating, making her want to listen forever. She looked up and met his eyes. Deep and dark as a cold pool. They carried immense imposing power, yet they were strikingly handsome. He was breathtaking. The spatial storage entity sighed inwardly. "Master, stop staring. He asked you a question." Lin Jiaojiao swallowed quietly. "All of them are safe in the cellar. 6 captives, no injuries." The man responded, his tone unreadable. He stretched out a hand toward her, his low voice carrying across the gap. "Climb up." Lin Jiaojiao frowned in confusion. "We will take you to safety first. We will handle the rest." Caught in the gaze of those profound eyes, Lin Jiaojiao reached out her hand without thinking. A flicker of emotion crossed Gu Zhao's eyes. His fingers wrapped gently around her palm, and he pulled her lightly into his arms. Before Lin Jiaojiao could react, he leaped down from the wall with her and headed toward the hidden ambush position in the distance. Lin Jiaojiao's mind went blank. Why had she let herself be distracted by his looks and foolishly offered her hand? She was perfectly capable of climbing the wall by herself. Why let him pull her up? Wait. He was still holding her. Why hadn't he set her down? She could walk on her own. "Why are you here?" The words barely left Gu Zhao's lips before he realized he had spoken out of turn. This was not the time for questions. From the moment he laid eyes on her, his usual calm and composure had frayed. Only years of rigorous self-discipline kept him from losing control entirely. "Me?" Lin Jiaojiao looked confused. His tone suggested he knew her, but she answered truthfully as if giving a formal statement. "My elder brother sold me." She recounted every detail of the night's events without omission. Gu Zhao listened carefully. His brows drew together, and his arms tightened around her subconsciously. How had she ingested the sedative? How had she remained conscious through everything? How many dangers had she faced? He held her far too tightly. Lin Jiaojiao grew awkward and uncomfortable, preparing to politely ask him to set her down. Then soft gasps sounded all around them. She turned her head and saw a group of masked soldiers in combat uniforms lying hidden in the grass. Every pair of eyes stared at them in stunned disbelief, as if witnessing something utterly unbelievable. Lin Jiaojiao felt strange. Why were they looking at her like that? Fortunately, the soldiers were well trained. Their shock lasted only an instant before they looked away. Gu Xiao sensed their stares. His arm stiffened briefly, then he regained his composure and slowly set her on her feet. The moment Lin Jiaojiao steadied herself, her spatial storage spoke. Master, the commotion here alerted the two men from the restaurant. They're turning around to flee, trying to escape across the border. They could not be allowed to get away. She grabbed Gu Zhao's arm hastily. I overheard their conversation. There are two higher-ranking ringleaders on their way here. Gu Zhao's gaze turned sharp. He immediately dispatched men to track and arrest them. The raid on the courtyard began simultaneously. In barely more than 10 minutes, the remaining 8 criminals were captured, along with the 2 men from the restaurant. The operation unfolded smoothly, with minimal resistance. Amid everyone's frantic activity, another group hurried over from a distance, clad in police uniforms with no masks covering their faces. Lin Jiaojiao recognized Captain He of the Public Security Bureau at a glance. Captain He spotted Lin Jiaojiao immediately and asked in surprise, "Young comrade, what are you doing here?" Lin Jiaojiao recounted how she had been sold by her family. Fury blazed across Captain He's face as he listened. Your family again? They act with complete disregard for the law. I'll send men to arrest them right away. A young soldier in combat fatigues and a mask stepped forward to coordinate with Captain He. As he spoke, he kept stealing glances toward her. Lin Jiaojiao was left speechless. She could not shake the feeling that these special forces soldiers were acting strangely tonight. Every trooper who passed by would sneak looks at her for no obvious reason, and she found it utterly baffling. Soon, the scene was secured. The criminals were herded onto trucks to be escorted away by the masked special forces soldiers. The abducted women and children would be taken back to the police station by Captain He and his officers. As they parted, Lin Jiaojiao could still feel the soldiers' intense stares. It was not the admiring gaze men cast at an attractive woman, but rather the excited curiosity of people eager to follow gossip. This was ridiculous. By the time she finished giving her statement at the police station, midnight had long passed. The girl she had rescued earlier had clung to her like a shadow ever since they emerged from the cellar. Then rapid footsteps echoed from the doorway. Nian Nian. My Nian Nian. The girl jumped to her feet and sprinted toward the voice, throwing herself into a man's arms. Father. Standing at the entrance was a dignified middle-aged man wearing a Chinese tunic suit, followed by a large entourage. His status was clearly extraordinary. The moment he laid eyes on his daughter, the tension rigidifying his features melted away. He pulled her tightly into his embrace. You're safe. That's all that matters. Su Nian buried her face against her father, and all the grief she had endured burst forth in muffled sobs. After crying for some time, she remembered the vital matter she needed to mention. She grabbed her father's hand and pointed toward Lin Jiaojiao. Father, this is Sister Lin Jiaojiao. She's incredibly capable, and she saved me. If not for her, The middle-aged man patted his daughter soothingly, then turned to Lin Jiaojiao, his eyes brimming with gratitude. He held out his hand solemnly. Comrade, thank you. Thanks to you, my daughter returned safely. I will never forget this kindness. Lin Jiaojiao shook his hand gently. Uncle Su, there is no need for such formality. It was only the right thing to do. Anyone would have acted the same. He watched her with appreciation, impressed by her calm composure. You are remarkably mature for your age. If you do not mind, let us form a bond of adoptive kinship. Nian Nian will gain an elder sister, and I will gain another daughter. The surrounding onlookers exchanged startled glances at his words. No one expected this young woman to earn such favor from this powerful man. Her future would be bright indeed. Lin Jiaojiao noticed their shifting expressions. She wanted to avoid unnecessary entanglements and was trying to think of a polite refusal when her space suddenly spoke inside her mind. Master, accept his offer. This man possesses extraordinary destiny. His connection will help us remain in this world. I will explain more later. Lin Jiaojiao sighed inwardly. Transmigration was already complicated enough. Why did everything have to be shrouded in such mystery? Could she not simply live a quiet, uncomplicated life? Su Nian rushed over excitedly and latched onto her arm. That would be wonderful. We'd be real sisters then. Sister, please say yes. I'm the only child in our family, and I've always wanted an elder sister. Agree, won't you? Lin Jiaojiao had little choice but to consent. In an instant, she gained a powerful patron in the capital city, her newly adopted father. After seeing her adoptive father and sister off, Lin Jiaojiao prepared to head home. Before she left, Captain He dispatched 2 teams based on the clues she provided. One unit moved to arrest Brother Wang. The second accompanied her home to apprehend her eldest brother. As she neared the house, she heard a man's furious, anxious ranting from inside. "Where's my money? This cannot be happening. I clearly had it in my pocket just now. How could it vanish out of nowhere?" After returning home, Lin's eldest brother had eagerly anticipated counting the money he earned from selling his sister, only to find it gone. Rage surged through him. He tore at his clothes and trousers, searching every corner, yet not a trace of cash turned up. "Did it vanish into thin air?" he shouted angrily. Lin Jiaojiao stepped inside. His furious expression froze instantly. How are you here?" He pointed at her as if seeing a ghost. He had sold her off. There was no way she could have come back. Lin Jiaojiao smiled faintly and said nothing. She stepped aside, revealing the 2 police officers standing behind her. Lin's eldest brother slumped heavily to the floor. It was over. He was finished. With this, all members of the Lin family had been dealt with. Lin Jiaojiao entered her spatial dimension, took a bath, and settled onto a sofa in the villa's main hall. "Tell me, why should I agree to become his adopted daughter?" A small golden light sphere materialized, floating before her. "Master, we are outsiders who transmigrated into this world. As time passes, the world's natural forces will seek to repel and expel us. What does that have to do with forming this adoptive bond? The deeper your karmic ties with native residents, the weaker the world's repulsion grows. Connections to people of such extraordinary destiny carry especially great weight." Lin Jiaojiao nodded. "If I accept him as my adoptive father, how long can I stay? It will ease the repulsion, but it is not a permanent solution. You will likely only remain for roughly 5 years. "Only 5 years?" Lin Jiaojiao frowned, then her eyes lit up. "What if I take several more adoptive fathers?" The space fell silent. "Do you think adoptive fathers are cabbages you can pick casually? Besides, that is not how this mechanism works." Lin Jiaojiao leaned back against the sofa and sighed weakly. "Then what can I do? I do not want to grow accustomed to a world only to be forced to leave again. Constantly moving is far too troublesome." The light sphere bounced in midair. "The solution is straightforward. Expand your influence. For example, establish a nation and become its ruler. Your fate would then bind to an entire country, granting immense stabilizing power." Lin Jiaojiao twitched her lips. The space certainly dared to dream. Becoming an emperor was almost as absurd as trying to reach the heavens. The space thought for a moment. "Then serve as a commanding general, leading vast armies. The effect is weaker than ruling a nation, yet your fate will tie to the country's fortune. You could stay for roughly 20 years. "That is barely acceptable," Lin Jiaojiao replied, still unsatisfied. The sphere circled around her. "The simplest, most direct option is to marry and raise children. This will let you fully integrate into the world." Lin Jiaojiao fell quiet. That was certainly simple. But she had no desire to marry. Freedom and independence suited her perfectly. Why voluntarily tie herself down? What if misfortune struck, and she faced domestic violence, betrayal, or someone plotting against her for her resources? Married life could turn miserable. Solitude felt far safer and peaceful. The space blinked in confusion. "What hardships have you endured to grow so pessimistic?" Lin Jiaojiao glanced at the glowing sphere. "Tell me everything else you know all at once. I do not want sudden, unexpected complications emerging later." The sphere drifted closer and brushed gently against her cheek in a placating manner. "That is all. It is not such a grave matter anyway. If the worst comes to pass, we can simply transmigrate to another world. Think of it as traveling and adventure." She supposed that was true. "When we transmigrate, can we choose whether to go to ancient times or a modern era?" The sphere swayed back and forth. "I can select a target world, but I cannot tell you its era in advance." She understood now. It was like opening a blind box. One could pick which box to take, yet never know what lay inside. Lin Jiaojiao leaned against the sofa, her fingers brushing absently across her sleeve as her mind raced. Ever since she obtained the portable space, she had planned stockpiling supplies to prepare for future transmigration. She had once imagined settling down in this world like an ordinary person, growing old here. She planned to wait for decades, until the economy prospered, then stock convenient modern goods. For instance, she cared nothing for black and white televisions and hoped to stock LCD screens and projectors from future eras. She saw no value in bulky brick mobile phones and wanted to store 5G smartphones and tablets. But now the situation had shifted. If she hoped to live a leisurely, peaceful life, she could not stay indefinitely. At most 5 years, and she would be forced to depart once more, with no knowledge of where she would land. If she transmigrated to an ancient age without electricity, or a primitive wilderness where humans survived by hunting and gathering, then even these simple goods from the 1970s would be far superior to anything available there. She needed to adjust her plans. Whether she would use these items or considered them outdated, she had to stock them for emergencies. Take the rough paper commonly used in every household right now. She found it coarse and uncomfortable, yet if she arrived in ancient or primitive lands, such paper would be unobtainable. She would be left with nothing but twigs and plant ash. Lin Jiaojiao sat upright abruptly. Space, bring out all the cash and coupons. Right away. A flash of golden light appeared, and money alongside various ration tickets laid neatly across the coffee table. The tickets we have now only suffice for temporary use. If we want to stock goods on a large scale, we need far more. We must head to the black market to trade. Master, we lack not only tickets, but also sufficient cash. We should exchange some gold bars as well. The two calculated together, drafting a stockpile list deep into the night. Checking the time, she changed her appearance, ready to catch the early morning market. Locals called this the ghost market or dawn market, an illegal gathering that began after midnight and dispersed at sunrise. One such market stood nearby. Farmers secretly brought goods they produced to sell, evading patrols. Though crude and cluttered, it held many rare items. The sky had just lightened, streaked with pale pink along the eastern horizon. The dawn market already bustled with people, mostly farmers speaking in hushed tones and townsfolk out early to hunt for bargains. The air carried the mingled scents of soil, grass, and livestock. Low murmurs and the clucks and quacks of poultry filled the air, lending the place a lively yet cautious atmosphere. Lin Jiaojiao wove quietly through the crowd, scanning each stall with clear objectives. She stopped at a stall against the wall tended by a tanned elderly man. Bamboo baskets held fluffy chicks and ducklings, alongside mature hens and drakes that looked sturdy and healthy. Grandpa, I will buy all of your chicks, ducklings, adult chickens and ducks, Lin Jiaojiao said in a low voice, without hesitation. The old man stared in surprise, clearly not expecting someone to buy everything at once. Young man, you really want all of them? Lin Jiaojiu pulled out her money. Yes, all of them. How much? Delighted, the old man nodded quickly. Very well, I will give you a fair price. Chicks and ducklings cost 20 cents each. Mature poultry is 1 yuan and 20 cents per gene. Lin Jiaojiao handed over the cash without delay. The elderly man smiled, swiftly tying the chickens and ducks and placing them into the backpack she carried. He offered a kind warning. Young man, travel carefully. Avoid crowds, so no one hears the animals and arrests you. I understand. Thank you, Grandpa. With the backpack on her shoulders, Lin Jiaojiao sought out other vendors selling livestock. She bought every animal they offered, young and adult alike. She also met a rabbit seller who claimed his rabbits were farm-bred, plumper, and tastier than wild hares. She purchased all of them. She then slipped into an empty alleyway and quietly transferred all the live animals into her spatial dimension before returning to the market. This time she sought food supplies. She did not need fresh vegetables. The space already contained many varieties. For anything missing, she planned to buy seeds and grow them herself. What she required were preserved processed foods. Chewy, sweet-dried sweet potato strips, homemade pickled radishes and cucumber by farmers, crisp and appetizing, dried beans and eggplant strips, sesame oil, lard, firm tofu, and more. She bought every available stock. She purchased every fruit she could find. Some she would eat, while others would provide seeds to expand the orchards inside her space. She also bought handmade woven goods, bamboo baskets, winnowing trays, brooms, straw hats, and willow hampers. By the time she finished shopping, sunlight flooded the sky, and the market slowly dispersed. Lin Jiaojiao stopped for breakfast somewhere, removed her disguise inside the space, then headed toward her next destination, the grain shop. In this era, purchasing grain, oil, and flour required a grain household register at designated community grain stores. Strict quotas applied. Each person could only buy a limited amount monthly. Even with coupons, shops refused sales exceeding the limit. Today marked the 1st of July, the start of a new monthly ration cycle. When she arrived, a long queue stretched outside the shop. Master, there are so many people. Perhaps we should attend to other errands first, the space suggested. Lin Jiaojiao waited in line and communicated with the space mentally. If we wait longer, supplies will run out. The Educated Youth Office will process rural assignment papers in the coming days. Before my household registration is transferred, we must make this purchase. The queue crept forward slowly. After roughly an hour, it was finally her turn. Standing at the counter, Lin Jiaojiao gestured toward the rows of grain. Comrade, please provide the full monthly ration for 5 people at once. All quotas for wheat, flour, rice, and coarse grains. The shop assistant grew wary, studying her up and down with suspicion. Regulations forbid purchasing an entire month's ration in one go. Supplies are distributed in batches. Why do you need so much all at once? Heads turned among the waiting crowd, everyone watching her with curiosity and doubt. Lin Jiaojiao remained calm. Auntie, thieves robbed my home completely. I will stay with relatives for a time and cannot make repeated trips to the grain shop. Could you please make an exception? Several neighbors in the queue recognized her. That is the Lin family girl. I know her. Word spread that thieves cleaned out her house a few days ago. Another person nodded in agreement. Yes, everyone in our neighborhood heard about it. People went inside to see. Nothing remained at all. One man spoke up on her behalf. We can vouch for her. Her home truly was emptied. She will stay elsewhere, so she must bring her own grain. Hearing this, the crowd recalled the widely discussed robbery at the Lin residence. They realized the girl standing before them was the victim, and sympathy softened their attitudes. Poor girl. No wonder she needed so much grain. With an empty house, she needed to replace pots, pans, firewood, and food staples from scratch. I see. Very well, I will make an exception this once, the assistant relented. She checked Lin Jiaojiao's household register and valid monthly ration coupons, all in order, then quickly measured, bagged, and sorted all the grain.